Chapter 104. Chen had already given up hope, but he didn't expect Wang Xian to really think of such a place. His eyes lit up as he asked, "Where is it?" Wang Xian smiled mysteriously and said, "The lightning region." Lightning region? Chen was stunned. He had never heard of this place before. The lightning region is very famous. It's one of the most mysterious places in the southern region. There are endless lightning bolts there that will never dissipate. It's like a lightning field, very mysterious. The lightning energy there is like a lightning dragon. Its power is peerless, and it's very difficult for ordinary people to get close. Only a few true experts can get close to the lightning region and extract some lightning energy to refine their life source magic treasures. The weakest people who can get close to the lightning region are Zephyr Realm experts. They come from all over the southern continent. If we go there, we might be able to find an expert to protect us. Wang Xian said. There are lightning bolts there all year round. How is that possible? Lightning is born out of thin air. It has no beginning and no end. It disappears in the blink of an eye. How can it never dissipate? Chen's heart trembled. He was very curious about the lightning region. The Heavenly Lightning Body Tempering Art introduced the Heavenly Lightning Body Tempering Art, absorbing lightning energy to temper one's body. The lightning region was very special. Chen needed to understand it carefully. Although this matter is strange, it's the truth. If it were someone else, they wouldn't be able to give you a reasonable explanation. Coincidentally, I know some secrets. Wang Xian was wearing the clothes of a commoner. Her face was painted with a layer of dark yellow, but it was still beautiful. There was a unique charm in it. She smiled. It was like 100 flowers blooming. The fragrance of the flowers brushed against one's face. There are rumors that the lightning region was created by the lightning divine palace. Before Chen could ask, Wang Xian explained, the lightning divine palace has appeared many times in the history of the Qianwu continent. Every time it appears, it will bring endless bloodshed. It's said that the lightning divine palace has the inheritance of the lightning god. Once one obtains it, they will become a god, an immortal existence. The entire Qianwu continent will tremble because of them. Are there really gods in the world? Chen was shocked. Who in the world could live forever? Even the strongest cultivators, whose lifespan far exceeded that of ordinary people, would still reach the end of their life. And in the endless legends, gods were the most legendary. This was an existence that even ordinary mortals knew about. Gods were undying and inextinguishable. They were lofty existences with magical power that reached the heavens. They could call the wind and summon the rain. They could pluck the sun and seize the moon. They could control the heavens and the earth. They were the most powerful existences in the world. Gods were immortal and would not die. This was a legend, and it could also be said to be a type of belief. Chen had long heard of it, but he never thought that there would really be a place like the Lightning Divine Palace, where the inheritance of a god still existed. This is just a legend that has existed for countless years. No one has ever obtained the inheritance, and the gods have never appeared before. No one has been able to prove it. Wang Xian explained, appearing very calm. This legend had been mentioned in the ancient books of the various powers. She had long known about it, so she was not surprised at all. However, the Lightning Divine Palace does indeed exist. But every time it appears, what it brings is not the inheritance of a god, but slaughter and destruction. In the past, many powers and superclans had fallen in the fight for the inheritance of the Lightning Divine Palace. The superpowers that were once incomparably prominent and intimidating for an era were also destroyed because of the appearance of the Lightning Divine Palace. Such situations can be found everywhere. Almost every time the Lightning Divine Palace appears, there would be one or two superpowers that would disappear. The appearance of the Lightning Divine Palace would attract the attention of all the powers. In order to obtain the inheritance of a god, they would use all their strength and resources to obtain the inheritance at all costs. Among them, there were some powers that had fallen in the journey to the Lightning Divine Palace. There were also some powers that had disappeared in the Lightning Divine Palace. In short, it is an ominous object that is filled with temptation. Chen listened quietly, His emotions were like turbulent waves that could not be calmed down for a long time. He could not imagine how much resources those superpowers had, but he could imagine that a large group of Zephyr Realm experts, or even experts that had surpassed the Zephyr Realm, had fallen in large groups, and even more experts were rushing towards a large hall that was dazzling with lightning. The reason why the lightning region is so strange and has lightning that doesn't dissipate is also related to the lightning divine palace. There are rumors that when the lightning divine palace appeared last time, a superpower in the southern region used all their resources to attack the lightning divine palace. That battle was unprecedented and brought about a great impact. In the end, that superpower dissipated, and the southern region that was once the lightning divine palace was divided by many other powers. There were 7 great cities, 3 great sects, and many other powers. During that battle, it was said that a corner of the lightning divine palace was shattered. That corner fell from the sky and turned into a lightning region. Since then, it has never declined and stood tall in the southern continent, becoming one of the most mysterious places in the southern continent. Wang Xian explained softly, and Zichen was extremely shocked. There was actually such a strange place in the world, and there was an endless amount of lightning energy there. To Zichen, it was a kind of attraction. He had to go there. He had already refined the true energy pill, but his strength had stopped at the pinnacle of true energy level 10. Now, Zichen urgently wanted to increase his strength and reach the Xiantian realm as soon as possible. Another 2 days passed, and Wang Xian'er's injuries were completely healed. The reinforcements from Yunxia City had yet to arrive, so the two of them finally decided to set off. But before that, the two of them had to go in the direction of Yunxia City to try their luck. On a dark night, Zichen bade farewell to the villagers. Everyone came to send him off, and their eyes were filled with reluctance. Zichen, come when you are free. Qingshui village will be your home. The old village chief was trembling as he passed a bag to Zichen. Before we leave, we don't have anything good to give you. Zichen, take this jerky. It will be delicious on the road, so be careful. The butcher also took out a bag of jerky. Be careful. Those black-robed men haven't left yet. Yesterday, when I went hunting in the mountains, I heard the sound of that strange bird. The hunter also went forward and took out some clothes. Zichen was very touched and refused repeatedly. He knew that the lives of the villagers were not good. Take it. You are running for your lives, so you need to have enough food. Xiaoxian's injuries have just healed, so she needs food to recuperate. Yes, take it. Don't let Xiaoxian suffer on the road. Such a beautiful lady was hurt too badly last time. You are a man, so you have to protect her. The villagers spoke one after another, and Zichen could not refuse. He could only take some food. This was something they needed, and the rest was dispensable. If they were running for their lives, they could not bring too many things. The two of them finally left. Wang Xian'er's eyes sparkled. After living here for so long, she was naturally clear about the living conditions of the villagers. However, when she was injured, she had meat and meat soup for every meal. To her, it was naturally nothing. However, to the villagers, these things were as important as their lives. The villagers took turns to take care of Zichen. Every day, they would bring some nourishing things. There was even one day when a hunter almost lost his life for a small ginseng. However, he still managed to bring the ginseng back with his injured body. The two of them walked in the mountains. They rested during the day and traveled at night. This time, it was Wang Xian'er who took care of Zichen. The latter's injuries had healed, and her strength was much stronger than Zichen's. 2 days later, the two of them were ambushed in a mountain forest. It was a group of masked men who were good at concealment and assassination. They appeared silently, but when they attacked, they were like thunder. Mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Their injuries were extensive, and their killing intent was boundless. Caught off guard, Wang Xian'er suffered a small loss. They are from the assassin pavilion. I didn't expect them to come to Yunxia City to assassinate me. The target of these masked men was clear. They were targeting Wang Xian'er. If they attacked Zichen, the latter would definitely die. In the battle in the forest, Zichen witnessed Wang Xian'er's powerful strength. She was young, but she was worthy of being called a genius. Red light flickered around her, dyeing half the sky red. Streaks of energy shot out like spiritual snakes, but the power was extraordinary. After a fierce battle, all the masked men were killed. She was at her peak, and her combat strength was terrifying. Zichen was under a lot of pressure when he was with Wang Xian. Both of them were about the same age, but the gap between their realms and combat strength was too big. Along the way, she was taking care of him. Towards her enemies, Wang Xian killed decisively. She was unusually cold, like an ice that wouldn't melt for thousands of years. She hated evil and killed with every move. In the end, the two of them killed their way out of the forest and decided to return to the Thunder region. Obviously, there were more masked men on the road to Yunxia City. Now that we are both being hunted down, there is no need to worry about who is implicating who. Wang Xian smiled faintly. There were traces of blood on her red lips. The road to the Thunder region was not peaceful. Other than the martial ancestors' men, there were also masked men. They were all in the true energy realm, but they were good at concealment and assassination. Their target was Wang Xian, and they could attack her from all directions. There was even one time when they hid in the swamp and attacked in an instant, making it impossible to guard against. Among them, the pressure from the martial ancestor was the greatest, because the other party had a Zephyr realm expert. This kind of existence could kill them with a single palm, so the two of them were very careful. The rock bird chirped in the sky, constantly reminding Zichen of their location. This made the two of them suffer a lot. During the half a month of escaping, Zichen and Wang Xian were injured again. The pursuers were too strong, and they even encountered a Zephyr realm expert. The two of them were seriously injured, and they spent a lot of effort to jump into a large river and luckily into an underground river. Only then did they manage to escape. Another half a month later, the two of them were covered in wounds. Zichen supported Wang Xian as they walked slowly in the forest. Zichen had a special physique, and his willpower was strong, but his strength was not complementary. After a month of escaping, the two of them had already reached their limit. Another day, when Zichen was supporting Wang Xian, he suddenly felt a vast aura in front of them. It was like the might of the heavens, bringing with it a huge pressure. Zichen's expression changed, thinking that they had encountered another pursuer. During this period of time, he was really scared of being killed. But at this time, Wang Xian exclaimed, we're here, we're finally in the Thunder region. P.S. Collect fresh flowers. Chapter 105. Wang Xian jumped and screamed like a child. She was extremely excited. Zichen was also very excited. After escaping for so long, they had finally reached their destination. The lightning region was right in front of them. After escaping for so many months, how could he not be excited when he finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel? As the two of them moved forward, the heavenly might became stronger. Wang Xian's body emitted a faint red glow to resist the pressure. Due to her serious injuries, she had difficulty moving forward. Her beautiful face was very pale. On the other hand, Zichen's body was strong and his injuries were light. Comparatively, he was in a better condition. Rumble. Rumble. Thunder rumbled as lightning dragons danced in the air. The deafening sound traveled for more than 10 miles. After moving forward for a few miles, the heavenly might became even more terrifying. At the same time, the rumbling sound became louder. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The surroundings were dead silent. There were no plants, birds, or flowers. There was only the rumbling sound of thunder. There were no birds in the sky, no beasts on the ground, and no signs of life. It was like a dangerous place. This is the lightning region. Looking at the lightning region ahead, Zichen's eyes were filled with shock. It was said that the lightning region was formed from a corner of the lightning shrine that was knocked off. In Zichen's imagination, it was at most a few hundred meters wide. However, the lightning region in front of him was more than 10 miles wide. Furthermore, it was shining with silver light. Lightning continued to wreak havoc. Lightning snakes danced wildly and made earth-shattering sounds. The lightning had no beginning and no root. It would never dissipate. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Bolts of lightning were wreaking havoc. This was a mysterious and extraordinary place. The lightning was dazzling, like the roar of an angry dragon. Although the lightning region was right in front of them, it seemed to be in another space. No matter how the lightning wreaked havoc, it couldn't escape this space. It was as if there was a huge transparent light shield that isolated the lightning. No matter how the lightning wreaked havoc, it couldn't escape. They were still 1,000 meters away from the lightning region, but Wang Xian couldn't take it anymore. She could barely move her body. Facing the heavenly might with her serious injuries was very difficult. Zichen was better. He didn't feel any discomfort yet. However, the overwhelming pressure made him feel very uncomfortable. This place is filled with lightning. Where are the strong cultivators? Zichen looked around. It was empty. There was only a huge lightning region. It was dozens of miles long, like a crouching thunder dragon. The true experts are all refining weapons inside. Wang Xian shouted. But as soon as she finished speaking, she started coughing lightly. Her injuries were very serious. The power of the heavens was hard to fathom, and the thunder and lightning were very terrifying. It was like an electric snake wreaking havoc, and its power was peerless. When Zichen saw it for the first time, he gave up the idea of absorbing the thunder and lightning to temper his body. At the same time, for the first time, he had doubts about the heavenly thunder reshaping technique. The reason for that was because the might of the lightning was simply too vast. He was even more shocked when he heard that there were experts refining weapons inside. There are no experts in the outside world. Are we going to go in? Zichen's expression changed. The thunder territory was filled with thunder and lightning. If he entered, he would have to face thousands of thunder and lightning attacks. Not to mention him, a mere true energy boundary martial artist. Even if a true energy boundary martial artist came, they would be instantly annihilated. There's no other way now. We can only go to the edge of the lightning region and wait there to see if there are any experts. Furthermore, we have to be the first to discover the experts who are here to obtain the power of lightning before the Zephyr Realm experts arrive. Wang Xian gritted her teeth and said, "How can this be?" Zichen was completely dumbfounded. He thought that he would be saved once he saw the lightning region, but now, he had to try his luck. If there were no experts refining weapons here or passing by, the two of them would definitely die. All right, then we can only go all out. Zichen was not a hesitant person, let alone when it was a matter of life and death. He gritted his teeth and prepared to go forward. At this moment, several figures appeared on the horizon. They were all masked and dressed in black. Their eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. They appeared with weapons in their hands, and under the sunlight, their weapons gleamed coldly. Their faces were gloomy, and their expressions were almost the same. Step by step, they walked towards the lightning region. Their steps were firm, just like their killing intent. "Oh no, the people from the Assassin's Pavilion are here!" Zichen exclaimed and went forward with Wang Xian. Wang. Streaks of red light emerged from Wang Xian's body and protected her, making her appear illusory and ethereal. The pressure of the thunder and lightning was too terrifying. Wang Xian, who was severely injured, was having a hard time resisting it. Zichen was in a better state. He pulled Wang Xian and walked towards the lightning region. The two of them were about 1,000 meters away from the lightning region. Now that the masked men had arrived, the two of them had no way to retreat. Hence, they increased their speed. "You guys are good at hiding. You actually ran to the lightning region. Entering the lightning region means certain death. However, I'm afraid that the two of you won't be able to enter in your current state. Don't worry, wait for us at the front. We'll send you off immediately," the masked men behind them said coldly. Along the way, they had fought several intense battles. Zichen had always been with Wang Xian and even blocked a few fatal attacks for her. Hence, he was also wanted by the Assassin's Pavilion. Shameless boasting. "Come at me if you can. A bunch of cowards who can't see the light of day." Zichen replied coldly and continued to move forward. When they were only a few hundred meters away from the lightning region, Wang Xian could no longer hold on. She coughed out a mouthful of blood and her face was even paler. "Leave. Don't bother about me. Wang Xian pushed Zichen weakly. She was very weak and her beautiful face was pale. What are you talking about? You protected me with your life that day. How can I abandon you and leave today? Zichen held on tightly to Wang Xian. Wang. At this moment, streaks of silver light emerged from Zichen's body. They were like tiny electric snakes that flowed along Zichen's arm and entered Wang Xian's body. Zichen was only in the true qi realm. He couldn't condense his true qi out of his body and could only pass it along his arm. Streaks of true qi flowed like water and entered Wang Xian's body, following which, they flowed to the surface of her body. They were very pure and warm like water. In an instant, Wang Xian's body was shining with silver light. The terrifying pressure of the thunder and lightning was blocked outside. The uncomfortable feeling disappeared instantly. You. Wang Xian was shocked. Zichen was only in the true qi realm. Yet, he was able to block the pressure of the thunder and lightning that even she couldn't withstand. At the same time, what made Wang Xian change her expression was the energy in Zichen's body. It felt as though he was one with the thunder and lightning. Along the way, Wang Xian realized that Zichen was getting more and more mysterious. It was as though there were layers of fog covering him. After dispersing one layer of fog, another layer of fog would appear. She couldn't see through him at all. Wang Xian's voice was drowned out by the thunder and lightning. Zichen didn't hear her. At this moment, the two of them were less than 500 meters away from the lightning region. The masked men followed closely behind. Their bodies were shining brightly as they resisted the pressure of the thunder and lightning. They weren't injured and were very strong. They could withstand the pressure and move forward. However, they weren't as relaxed as Zichen. Hang in there, kid. Don't let us catch up to you. Try to enter the lightning region. Otherwise, your life will end today. If you offend the assassin's pavilion, you have no other choice but to commit suicide. Zichen ignored them. The silver light on his body was getting brighter. The terrifying pressure of the thunder and lightning seemed to have stimulated his body. His sky thunder reshaping art was circulating faster, releasing streaks of thunder and lightning energy. In the end, the two of them stopped 100 meters away from the lightning region. On one hand, the pressure of the thunder and lightning was getting stronger. On the other hand, the masked men didn't chase after them. They were 300 meters away and their speed was getting slower. Beyond 200 meters, it was difficult for them to move forward. It took them a long time to take a step forward. Mph, these guys are persistent. Zichen turned around and snorted when he saw the masked men. The masked men took a long time to take a step forward. However, they didn't give up and were closing in. Zichen and Wang Xian sat hand in hand. The latter was recovering from her injuries. Zichen looked at them coldly. I'm not leaving. I'll wait for you guys here. Let's see what you can do. A bunch of scoundrels who can't see the light. Don't die under this pressure. I'm still waiting for you to kill me. Hey, the scoundrel at the back. You're too slow. Hurry up and catch up. I'll wait for you here. Zichen was 100 meters away. He was constantly making sarcastic remarks to provoke the masked men. Brat, you may be stubborn now. Let's see how you'll die later. You're digging your own grave. When I catch you later, even if you kneel on the ground and beg me, it won't make a difference. Even if you kill your companions to make up for your mistakes, it won't work. The masked men gritted their teeth. As time passed, the masked men slowed down. During this period, Zichen advanced another 50 meters as a precaution. He kept making sarcastic remarks to provoke the masked men. Every time he called them young masters, the masked men were going to explode from anger. They were true energy realm experts who specialized in assassination. They didn't care about those of the same level. But today, they were humiliated by a mere true energy realm brat. Feeling humiliated and angry, the masked men kept advancing. But when they were 100 meters away, they couldn't withstand the pressure of the lightning and stopped. They were 50 meters away, and naturally, they weren't willing to give up. During this period, both parties didn't stop. Instead, they continued to bicker and greet each other. The masked men were furious and didn't want to give up. Hence, they activated their sword radiance and attacked Wang Xian. TSK. The sword radiance was like a rainbow, piercing through the air. It was a pity that before it could reach Wang Xian, the sword radiance couldn't withstand the pressure of the lightning and dissipated instantly. Streaks of sword radiance pierced through the air. They were dazzling and dazzling. But like fireworks, they dissipated at the fastest speed. What's wrong? You feel bad after chasing me all the way here. Now, you're setting off fireworks for me. Not bad, not bad. That firework isn't nice. It's not beautiful at all. You should set it up in the sky. This is good. A streak of sword radiance exploded in front of Zichen. Good, good, good. That's it. Not bad. Number 1, you did the best. Number 2, you can't do it. Put on some expression when you attack and give me a smile. As for the youngest, you'd better go home and drink milk. I didn't ask you to release a single sword radiance for so long. Ian, the youngest is not bad. After holding it in for so long, you actually released a big one. Looks like you really treated it as a fart. Haha, not bad. Chapter 106. The masked man gritted his teeth. He could still talk back earlier, but what Zichen said at the end was really unbearable. How dare he split them into groups? How despicable. They remained silent and didn't give in. They continued to attack. Even though they knew it was useless, they still had to release sword chi to vent their anger. You bunch of trash are really persistent. You're still holding on. The mocking look on Zichen's face disappeared. His eyes were burning with anger. After being chased for so long, the anger in his heart had reached a peak. He needed to vent it out. And now was the time. How are you? Can you hold on by yourself? Zichen looked at Wang Xiana, who was beside him. Wang Xiana opened her eyes. After meditating for more than 2 hours, her injuries had recovered significantly. She nodded at Zichen. Following which, a red light flashed around her body. It was as if a misty light shield had appeared. The pressure of the thunder and lightning was blocked by her. Alright, I'll go and destroy these guys. Zichen let go of Wang Xiana's hand. Cold light flashed in his eyes. After being chased for so long, it was time to collect some interest. Don't be rash. Be careful. Wang Xiana's voice came from behind him. I know what to do. Zichen didn't even turn his head. His body was shining with silver light as he rushed towards the masked man who was closest to him. Brat, you're here to die. Murderous intent flashed in the masked man's eyes. The long sword in his hand flickered and a sword chi rushed towards Zichen. In a short distance, the sword chi didn't dissipate. It was still very powerful and carried a bone-chilling murderous intent. Swoosh. Zichen tapped his foot and flashed past the sword chi. His body was like a ghost. In an instant, he was dozens of meters away, beside the masked man. Lightning flashed and moved at an extremely fast speed. Under the heavenly might, he wasn't affected at all. His expression was cold. His body was shining with silver light. He was like a silver-armored war god. His eyes were cold and emotionless. He clenched his fist tightly. Streaks of lightning appeared and struck towards the masked man's head. The power of this punch was unparalleled. In addition to the full power of this punch, there was also endless fury within it. The masked man hadn't expected Zichen's speed at all. His pupils suddenly shrank and he was very surprised. His feet flashed and he wanted to dodge to the side. However, Zichen's attack was too fast. Moreover, because they were in the lightning dominion, the masked man had to resist the pressure and his speed was greatly reduced. Bang! Zichen's fist landed squarely on the other party's head, causing a loud explosion. The other party's figure swayed and he was forced back 2 steps. The true essence barrier around him rippled, but he wasn't injured. There was a difference of 2 realms between them. Zichen's attack didn't break through his defense. At his current level, he could at most kill someone in the greater heaven realm. Brat, you're F***king attacking me. You're courting death. The masked man was furious. The punch just now had shaken his head. You're the one courting death. I don't believe that I can't break through your defense. A cold light flashed in Zichen's eyes. Lightning flashed continuously under his feet. He was like a bolt of lightning, constantly moving in this small space. Swish, swish, swish. When the lightning flashes appeared and dodged the other party's attacks, Zichen also took the opportunity to attack the other party. Bang, 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 bang. Strange. Who is this brat? Why isn't the lightning pressure having any effect on him? He's actually so fast. Under this pressure, he's actually walking on flat ground. He's only in the true Qi realm. Zichen's attacks were very sharp and fierce. But the most shocking thing was that Zichen was actually immune to the lightning pressure as if he was walking on flat ground. This made the masked man in the true Qi realm extremely shocked. Bang! Zichen punched the masked man back and laughed disdainfully. Dog, weren't you very arrogant before? Why are you mute now? Clenching his fist, a dazzling lightning appeared, matching the color of the lightning dominion. Its power was extraordinary. It was as if bolts of lightning were constantly appearing. Bang! The masked man retreated again and again. He was ashamed and angry. He was in the true Qi realm, but he was actually being humiliated by a true Qi realm. If it weren't for this damned pressure, I could kill 10 of you with one hand. The masked man roared again and again, striking out a sharp attack. But in this place, his speed was suppressed. His powerful attacks simply couldn't touch Zichen. Bullshit. If I was in the true Qi realm, I could kill all of you with a finger. Trash, you're about to die and you still dare to shout in front of me. Zichen's words were as sharp as his attacks. Kill me. Do you have the ability? I'm standing here, but you can't break through my defense. The masked man coldly snorted. Zichen's attacks were very sharp. His fists fell, hitting the masked man's head until he was dizzy. But the true Qi barrier around his body was still there. Zichen really couldn't break through his defense. Kai. The dazzling sword Qi broke through the air with amazing power. Zichen could only dodge and retreat. Trash, I'll stand here and let you hit me, the masked man sneered, but his attacks were unusually sharp. Peng, peng, peng. Zichen punched continuously, but the effect wasn't good. He really couldn't break through the masked man's defense. Wang Xian'er's beautiful eyes were wide open. It was beyond her expectations that Zichen could suppress the masked man. Thunderbolt finger, Zichen roared. He had no choice but to use a first-rate battle technique. In an instant, silver light flashed between his fingers, and a bolt of lightning appeared. In the lightning dominion, the sound of thunder shook the sky. At this moment, it seemed to be stimulated by the thunder outside. The sound of thunder became louder and deafening. At the same time, Zichen realized that the lightning energy on the thunderbolt finger seemed to be stronger. Lightning flashed between his fingers like a lightning dragon. It was extremely powerful, and it scared the masked man. The latter quickly retreated, trying to avoid this attack. Boom! The lightning flashed and exploded on the masked man's body. The terrifying energy dissipated, and the true Yuan light shield around the masked man trembled rapidly. The true Yuan light shield trembled a few times, but it didn't shatter. The masked man's shock turned to joy, and he laughed loudly. Ha ha, you don't live up to your reputation. You can't break through my defense at all. The masked man in the distance heaved a sigh of relief. The lightning attack just now was indeed frightening. It was a pity that it wasn't very powerful. In the meantime, they attacked one after another to support their companions. Let's see how hard your tortoise shell is. After attacking for a long time, Zichen still couldn't break through the masked man's defense. He was unconvinced and attacked again. Among them, the thunderbolt finger was the most powerful. Rumbling sounds could be heard. It was as if the lightning in the lightning dominion had rushed out to the outside world. Fist radiance and lightning continued to attack. Ha ha, useless brat. The masked man laughed loudly. Zichen was angry, but there was nothing he could do. Zichen, beat him up and let the lightning kill him. Suddenly, Wang Xian'er's voice sounded. That's right. Zichen's eyes lit up. I can't kill you, but I can beat you into the lightning. Let's see if you can survive. With a tap of his foot, a silver light flashed. Zi Chen was already behind the masked man. Then, he punched out fiercely. This time, he didn't hit the masked man's head, but his back. Boom. Under the punch, the masked man was forced to take a few steps forward. He staggered and almost fell. Peng. Zi Chen didn't give the masked man any time to react. He flashed forward and punched out again. The masked man took a few steps forward again. Zi Chen attacked continuously. His speed was very fast, and the masked man couldn't resist at all. He staggered and could only defend himself with a huge light shield like a tortoise shell. Not good. If this goes on, he will be beaten into the depths sooner or later. Damn this guy. He's really insidious. Hurry up and attack. The other masked men felt that something was wrong and attacked continuously. However, Zi Chen had profound footwork and was not afraid of them at all. He could always dodge them easily. From beginning to end, the masked man had been beaten more than 10 meters in. At this moment, it was even more difficult for him to move. The terrifying pressure was pressing him to the ground. Moreover, the deeper he went, the greater the consumption of his Jin Yuan. Once he ran out of Jin Yuan, he would die without a doubt. He roared and madness appeared in his eyes. Streams of Jin Yuan surged and a surging aura appeared. He met Zi Chen's silver fist head-on. Boom. The powerful impact sent Zi Chen flying. He coughed up blood in the air and was already injured. However, the masked man was also pushed back a few meters. The pressure became stronger again, and the masked man couldn't bear it. With a crack, he knelt on the ground with one knee. No need to bow to this young master. This young master doesn't care. Zi Chen wiped the blood from his mouth. Silver light surged around him, and his eyes emitted a cold light. He stepped forward again. Peng. This time, the masked man was using all his strength to resist the pressure. It was difficult for him to block Zi Chen's attack. In an instant, he was kicked back more than 10 meters by Zi Chen. The terrifying pressure directly pressed him to the ground, making him unable to move. The Jun Yuan in his body crazily surged, resisting the pressure with great difficulty. The Thunder Dominion was very special. Just the pressure here was not something a Jin Yuan boundary cultivator like him could resist. A moment later, the masked man's Jin Yuan was exhausted. The protective light shield disappeared, and a terrifying pressure descended. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him. The masked man's body emitted clear sounds of bones breaking. Ka. His bones were breaking, and blood was flowing out of his orifices. His expression was very fierce, and drops of blood flowed out of his eyes. It was a terrifying sight. In just a few breaths of time, the masked man spat out blood, dyeing his face red. Then his head tilted to the side and he died. In just a few breaths of time, all the bones in his body had been shattered. Seeing the masked man's death, Zi Chen felt a chill run down his spine. If it weren't for him being special, he feared he would have died a miserable death like this man. Zi Chen turned around and looked at the remaining masked men. He saw that all of them had fear in their eyes. After exchanging a glance with Zi Chen, they couldn't help but shiver. Then, they quickly turned and ran out of the Thunder Dominion. It was clear that they were also afraid. Unfortunately, in the face of the pressure, their speed was too slow. They were as slow as a turtle. You want to leave now? Too late. Chapter 107. Outside the lightning field, there was a terrifying pressure. Ordinary true energy experts would find it hard to resist. Only Zephyr experts would be able to resist this pressure and enter the lightning field to refine their life treasure. But now, Zi Chen, who was only at the true energy realm, was able to ignore the pressure as if he was walking on flat ground. Silver light shone from his body, and he was like a bolt of lightning. Boom, boom, boom. Zi Chen turned into a bolt of lightning and moved like a ghost. His speed was extremely fast, and his attacks were fierce. One after another, the masked men were beaten back by Zi Chen. What awaited them was the supreme power of heaven. The anger that had been suppressed for months finally exploded. Zi Chen was fighting to his heart's content. He continuously attacked, and his attacks were sharp. He was only at the true energy realm. Normally, when he saw true energy experts, he would only run for his life. But today, with the pressure of lightning, Zichen was able to vent his anger. In the distance, Wang Xian was delighted to see this. "Brat, let me go. I swear I won't kill you. Otherwise, you'll have to suffer the wrath of the heavenly slaughter pavilion." One of the masked men began to beg for mercy as he dodged Zichen's attacks. His companions had died too miserably. He didn't want to die in such a sullen manner. "Chimpage, let you go? Why didn't you let us go back then?" Zichen snorted and punched once more. Boom. The black-robed man was forced back by this punch. "Our heavenly slaughter pavilion covers the entire martial heaven continent. If you offend us, we'll kill you. If you let me go, we'll be friends in the future. Brat, we're an existence that even dares to provoke Yunxia City. If you offend us, you'll have no gate to heaven. Our target isn't you. Let us go, and we'll let bygones be bygones. You better think this through. Our heavenly slaughter pavilion is much stronger than Yunxia City. Offending us isn't wise." Facing the powerful Zichen, the masked men had no choice but to submit. They all begged for mercy, using both hard and soft tactics. However, Zichen remained indifferent and attacked even more fiercely. These people were all killers and had killed countless innocent people. How could Zichen let them go? Bang! A masked man was smashed into the depths of the pressure, and he let out a series of miserable shrieks. The heavenly might descended, crushing his bones, and producing crisp sounds. Boom! Another masked man was struck into the pressure. He lay on the ground, bleeding from his 7 orifices. His expression was hideous and terrifying. At this moment, Zichen was like a demon king, killing without blinking. His eyes were like lightning, and his attacks were swift and fierce. He was able to kill a true element realm martial artist while in the true Qi realm. He had performed a miracle. Bang! Another masked man was sent into the pressure. He screamed and begged for mercy. "You killed the innocent and didn't even spare ordinary people. If I let you go today, who knows how many more people will suffer in the future." Today, he had vented all of his anger. Zichen fought to his heart's content. He kept running and defending passively. He was in an incomparably miserable state as he was chased like a dog. Today, with the help of the heavenly might, Zichen finally made a move. He could hold his head high and vent all the unhappiness in his heart. Wang Xian was also very happy to see Zichen making a move. She was very satisfied. She never showed mercy when killing evil people. Peng! 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 In just a few breaths, all the masked men were smashed into the depths of the pressure. They were only a dozen meters away from Wang Xian, but they couldn't make a move. They could only try their best to resist the pressure. "You guys can fend for yourselves." Looking at the crowd, Zichen said coldly. Now, they could only wait for death. Once their elemental energy was depleted, they would die without a doubt. Shrieks rang out continuously. Some masked men begged for mercy, while others cursed. "You guys have committed all kinds of evil. You will only be a scourge if you stay in this world," Zichen said coldly. He ignored them and walked towards Wang Xian. Roar! At this moment, a high-pitched bird cry suddenly rang out from the horizon. Black clouds appeared in the sky, blotting out the sun as they drifted towards Wang Xian at lightning speed. At the periphery of the lightning region, the rumbling of thunder was deafening. However, it still couldn't drown out the cries of rocks. They were loud and clear. A few rocks appeared in the sky. They spread their wings, blotting out the sun as they flew towards Wang Xian. An austere killing intent surged out from the rocks, gushing towards Wang Xian. The martial ancestors' men. Zichen looked up at the sky, and his expression changed instantly. The heavenly slaughter pavilion was the first to arrive, followed by the martial ancestors' men. It had been more than 2 hours, but he still hadn't encountered any weapon forging experts. It seemed that his luck today was too bad. "You guys came at the right time." Wang Xian's beautiful eyes flickered as she said this sentence without any reason. The rocks cried out as they spread their wings and flew over, bringing with them gusts of wind. Above the rocks was a group of experts from the martial ancestor. They were filled with killing intent. They were here to kill Zichen. When they were close to the lightning region, the rocks suddenly trembled as if they felt the pressure of the lightning. They actually showed signs of descending. Roar! The rocks flapped their wings madly, withstanding the pressure, and soared into the sky once again. At this moment, a strange change occurred. The lightning region suddenly turned violent, as if the spatial light barrier had been shattered. As the lightning flashed, a bolt of lightning suddenly appeared, piercing through the sky. It rushed out of the light barrier like a winding lightning dragon and rushed towards the rocks in the distance. Boom! This was real thunder and lightning, and its speed was also real. In an instant, it arrived in front of a peng. The thunder and lightning exploded, and a terrifying aura erupted. The peng in the air only had time to let out a mournful cry before it was completely enveloped by the thunder and lightning. In less than a breath's time, the lightning dissipated. And in the midst of the lightning, whether it was the rocks or the black-robed men on the rock's back, they were all turned into dust and disappeared. This is... Zichen's eyes widened, and he was incomparably shocked. Near the lightning region, there is a restricted airspace. No birds dare to fly over. As long as there is something in the sky, it will cause a change in the lightning region. They brazenly brought the rocks here. They are simply courting death. Wang Xianer's voice was cold, and there was a hint of schadenfreude in her voice. Haha, that's good. Zichen laughed. Because at this moment, the lightning region turned violent again. Another few bolts of lightning flew out, bringing along a destructive aura as they rushed towards the rocks. On the rock's back, the experts from the martial ancestor screamed in terror. They didn't have time to control the rocks to land, and all of them jumped down from the rock's back, wanting to avoid the lightning attack. However, it was a pity that this was the lightning territory, which was related to the lightning divine palace. Everything could not be looked at with common sense. The lightning in the air was like a lightning dragon. In an instant, it split into dozens of small lightning dragons, which then rushed towards everyone in the air. Boom! 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 The sound of explosions rang out continuously, and the sound of rolling thunder surged. Streaks of dazzling silver light, like the sun, appeared in the sky. It was dazzling and resplendent, as if it was a real fireworks show. After a few breaths, the silver light dissipated, and the sky returned to normal. Everything returned to silence. The sky was empty, and there was nothing. How is this possible? Zichen wasn't the only one who was shocked. Even the masked men who hadn't died yet were extremely shocked. In just a few breaths of time, everything had turned to dust. Not a single trace was left behind. This was too terrifying. The martial ancestors' people came arrogantly, but they died in the blink of an eye. However, not all of them died. There were still people from the martial ancestor in the sky. After knowing that the people from Cloud City had interfered, the martial ancestor sent many experts this time. Among them, there were 2 flying realm experts. Seeing this, the people in the distance all ordered their rocks to land, and then walked towards the lightning region. In the blink of an eye, dozens of figures appeared in front of them. How many people from the martial ancestor came? So many died, and there are still dozens left. Zichen was speechless. He didn't know how he had offended the martial ancestor, and the other party actually sent so many people. Ah! A mournful scream rang out. A masked man had used up all of his true yuan, and his bones were all shattered. He died with blood flowing out of his 7 orifices. The other masked men trembled. They also didn't have much true yuan left. After that, a few more screams rang out. The people from the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion had all died. The martial ancestors' people approached and encountered the pressure of the lightning. Their strength varied. Because Zichen was in the true energy realm, there were also many Xiantian realm experts here. They were determined to kill Zichen. Facing the heavenly might, they were even more helpless. Their bodies slowed down when they were a few hundred meters away. "Mph, chasing me all the way, it's destined that I'll kill you all today." Killing intent flashed in Zichen's eyes. He had already set his sights on the Xiantian realm experts. He took a few steps forward and picked up a cold gleaming sword. With a tap of his foot, he rushed towards the Xiantian martial ancestors' people at lightning speed. Zichen's figure flickered. He was as fast as lightning and as illusory as a ghost. He dodged the attacks of several true energy realm experts and arrived beside the Xiantian realm experts in the blink of an eye. Like a wolf in a flock of sheep, he was unimpeded and wreaked havoc. Sword light flashed, carrying a dense killing intent as it streaked across the sky. Puff! A terrified head flew up and blood spurted out. Swoosh! Chen tapped his foot and clenched his fist. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He was like a silver-armored war god as he punched out. Boom! Under the powerful force, a Xiantian realm weapon was shattered. Chen's body was powerful and terrifying. He then punched out and shattered the Xiantian realm expert's protective shield. In an instant, the Xiantian realm expert was sent flying. After refining all the Xiantian pills, Chen's strength had reached the pinnacle of the true energy realm. His body was indescribably strong. Ordinary Xiantian realm experts were nothing in front of him, unless they were late or peak Xiantian realm experts. Under this powerful attack, the Xiantian realm experts were annihilated one after another. It was as easy as cutting melons and cutting grass. Because of the terrifying pressure, even the late-stage Xiantian realm experts would die without a doubt if they encountered Chen. The true energy realm experts had already rushed back, but Chen relied on his extreme speed to retreat into the depths of the battlefield. He no longer fought with them. It was like flying a kite. Chen wanted to exhaust his opponents to death. Gradually, the martial ancestors' people suffered heavy casualties. Facing Chen here, with the help of the heaven's might, he was almost invincible. After exhausting a true energy realm expert to death, the martial ancestors' disciples were finally scared. They retreated one by one and stopped advancing. They all looked at Chen with shock and fear. Chapter 108. Chen was not strong, but he was able to move unimpeded here. His speed was so fast that he could even exhaust a true energy realm warrior to death. Everyone retreated, not daring to get close. They were both shocked and angry. They clearly had the ability to kill the other party with one slap, but here, limited by the pressure of the thunder, they were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Come, didn't you want to kill me? I'll wait for you here. Chen's eyes were like lightning, and his tone was cold. Everyone clenched their teeth, but they did not dare to step forward. They would not joke with their lives. Haven't you always been very strong? Are all the great martial ancestor cowards? Come if you have the ability. Chen did not give up, and his tone was arrogant. Kid, don't be so arrogant. Come out if you have the ability. I can kill you with one slap. Come out, I can kill you with one finger. Some of the martial ancestors' disciples could not stand it and retorted. I'll say the same to you. If you have the guts to come, I can kill all of you with one slap. A bunch of trash, dogs. How dare you kill my Nimbus martial ancestor? In the future, when I, Chen, have the strength, I will naturally go to your martial ancestor. Chen's eyes were cold, and his voice was full of hatred. The martial ancestor of the future is my Nimbus martial ancestor today. I will take revenge. Shameless boasting. My martial ancestor has many experts. You think you can do it? Little thing, don't talk big here. You only have less than 2 hours to live. Just enjoy it quietly. Yes, when my Zephyr Realm expert comes, it will be the time of your death. The martial ancestors' disciples all spoke. They did not like Chen's belittling of the martial ancestor. Relying on your Zephyr Realm, you guys are just a bunch of trash. I, a mere true energy realm warrior, can kill you guys like dogs. Each and every one of you can't wait to run away with your tails between your legs. In my opinion, the martial ancestor is nothing more than this. I can see through your martial ancestor just by looking at one person. You're all a bunch of trash. To deal with a mere true energy realm cultivator like me, you guys are worse than pigs and dogs. Chen's words were not polite at all, and his words were quite vicious. However, none of the martial ancestors' disciples dared to go up, fearing that they would be killed by Chen. What a load of nonsense. Our martial ancestor is inferior to pigs and dogs, then what about your Nimbus martial ancestor? Isn't your martial ancestor the same as a dog? He fawned over our martial ancestor and has already become an elder of our martial ancestor. Finally, someone was annoyed by the scolding and retorted. What? Our martial ancestor has become an elder of your martial ancestor? Zi Chen was astonished. That's right. He came here licking his face. Back then, he didn't even leave when he was rushing back to the sect. The black-clothed man said proudly. Zi Chen's eyes turned and his mind was racing. The martial ancestor had destroyed the Nimbus martial ancestor, killed the first elder, and killed everyone else. However, the martial ancestor had not killed the martial ancestor. The latter was still an elder of the martial ancestor. There seemed to be something else going on here. What a load of nonsense. The Nimbus martial ancestor is no longer here. How can the martial ancestor still be alive? Zi Chen sneered. "Mph, that's because you're stupid. You should know." The black-clothed man was incomparably arrogant. He had finally gained the upper hand. However, before he could finish his sentence, a terrifying aura came from the horizon. Boom! A terrifying aura suddenly appeared from the horizon. Following which, a black shadow came from afar. He stepped on the void, and with each step, the void started to tremble. It was a black-clothed man. He had a cold expression on his face as he walked on air. The aura around him surged, and each step he took caused the void to tremble. A Zephyr realm expert. Zi Chen's face changed. His luck today was really bad. He tapped his foot and retreated continuously. When he reached Wang Xianer's side, he realized that her face was also incomparably ugly. The two of them were really unlucky today. Haha, brat, our Zephyr realm expert is here. Let's see if you can still be arrogant. Look at your face. You didn't wet your pants in fear, right? Your time has come. The black-clothed man sneered. He looked at Zi Chen as if he was looking at a dead man. Brat, weren't you very arrogant just now? Let me tell you, your martial ancestor has already become an elder of our martial ancestor. It's destined that your Nimbus martial ancestor has no future. It's only a matter of time before it's destroyed. The black-clothed man from before laughed sinisterly. Zi Chen retreated and arrived in front of Wang Xianer. The two of them raised their heads and looked at the Zephyr realm expert in the distance. The other party was still standing in the air and was walking towards them. Don't come down, don't come down. Zi Chen prayed in his heart. There was a forbidden zone here. As long as it was activated, he believed that the lightning in the Thunder region would be able to destroy the other party. His prayer seemed to have come true. The other party really didn't come down. Instead, he walked step by step and entered the range of the Thunder region. Wang! The Thunder region trembled, and the sound of thunder was deafening. A thick lightning bolt rushed out of the Thunder region like a winding lightning dragon and rushed towards the Zephyr realm expert. Zi Chen was agitated. He looked at the lightning bolt and waited quietly for the other party to be turned into ashes. The lightning bolt rushed towards the Zephyr realm expert, but it didn't explode. The other party stretched out his hand, and his 5 fingers shone brightly, emitting a jade-like radiance. The terrifying lightning bolt was actually forcefully held in the other party's hand. Following which, the huge lightning bolt gradually became smaller in the other party's hand. In the end, it was like a small lightning ball being held in his hand. Boom! After that, the small lightning ball exploded in the middle of his fingers, releasing a terrifying aura. The black-robed man stood in the air without the slightest injury. What? How could this be? Zi Chen's expression changed drastically. The powerful lightning bolt was actually crushed, and it didn't hurt the other party at all. He no longer had any hope in his heart. Zang, zang, zang. Zi Chen took a few steps back. His eyes were filled with shock. Boom, boom. The forbidden zone had been activated, and the Thunder region was once again activated. Following which, an even thicker lightning bolt rushed out crazily. The lightning was dazzling, and it carried a destructive aura. It was like a furious lightning dragon, roaring and rushing towards the Zephyr realm expert. Rumble. This time, the power of the lightning was even stronger. The Zephyr realm expert didn't dare to be careless. Light flashed in his hand, and he slapped towards the lightning dragon. In the midst of a loud explosion, the lightning dragon exploded. Endless energy raged in the air, and it was extremely dazzling. The Zephyr Realm expert was still uninjured. He took a step in the air, and with a single step, the sky trembled. Ripples appeared in the space, and it was constantly distorted. The crowd below was already dumbfounded. The shock brought by the Zephyr Realm expert was too great. He actually took the lightning head-on. With a single step, the sky trembled, and the earth trembled. He was like a giant that approached the thunder region. The boundless pressure of the heavenly lightning had no effect on him. He's too strong. Zichen's eyes were filled with despair. Such an expert could easily take his life with a single palm. Boom! The thunder region was once again activated. This time, it was even more terrifying. It was like an ancient beast had awakened. Thousands of thunder roared, and a boundless pressure appeared in the thunder region. Under this pressure, Wang Xian'er instantly vomited blood. Her face was pale. If Zichen hadn't reacted in time and used the silver energy to protect her, she would have died. The boundless pressure wreaked havoc. In an instant, it was more than 10 times stronger than before. Those disciples of the martial ancestor who were at the periphery were affected by this pressure. Those who were stronger and reacted faster had already retreated. Those who were weaker would forever remain in this pressure. Their bones were shattered, and they died with blood oozing out of their 7 orifices. Roar! A deafening roar reverberated through the sky. It was as if an ancient creature had appeared. The thunder region was in chaos. Thousands of lightning surged and emitted a dazzling light. With a crackling sound, the void seemed to have been shattered. A zigzagging lightning bolt rushed out from the thunder region. This time, the lightning bolt was about the thickness of a water bucket. It twisted, and no energy could be felt around it. However, its speed was extremely fast, and it rushed towards the Zephyr Realm expert. The Zephyr Realm expert had been very calm. However, when he saw this lightning bolt, his expression changed. His entire body exploded with an incomparable aura. The dazzling brilliance was like the sun, and it struck towards the lightning bolt. Rumble. The sky rumbled. When the lightning bolt and the brilliance collided, an incomparable aura spread out from the sky. This time, the thunder region displayed its mysteriousness to the crowd. Even the Zephyr Realm expert was forced to retreat by this lightning bolt. He was sent flying for more than 10 meters. Rumble. Rumble. The lightning in the thunder region had no beginning and no end. It would never dissipate. It could be said that it was endless. In the next moment, 2 more lightning bolts appeared and wreaked havoc towards the Zephyr Realm expert. The latter's expression changed. He was extremely shocked. He quickly retreated. In the midst of the rumbling sound, he had already retreated a few hundred meters, leaving the place where the pressure came from. The Zephyr Realm expert was forced to retreat. This is too scary. Zichen looked at the thunder region behind him with a horrified expression. To him, the Zephyr Realm expert was already a super expert that he had to look up to. However, the thunder region was able to force the Zephyr Realm expert to retreat. It was obviously stronger than the Zephyr Realm. The Zephyr Realm expert was forced to retreat and lost face. However, the thunder region was extremely mysterious. The latter did not dare to continue flying in the sky. He could only move forward on the ground. The endless pressure did not affect him at all. In just a few steps, he had already covered a few thousand meters. Zichen pulled Wang Xian'er and retreated again and again. They were already at the edge of the thunder region. Behind them was the thunder region, and in front of them was the Zephyr Realm expert. They had no way to retreat. "You are Zichen?" The Zephyr Realm expert had already stepped forward and stopped 50 meters away from Zichen. At this distance, the Zephyr Realm expert could kill him with a single strike. "That's right." Zichen nodded, but his heart sank to the bottom. The Zephyr Realm expert in front of him was not the one who chased after them previously. Obviously, there were at least 2 Zephyr Realm experts here. The Zephyr Realm expert was dressed in black. He had a cold expression on his face. This was a middle-aged man. His robe fluttered without wind, resisting the pressure of the lightning. Not bad. To have such ability at such a young age, you are quite capable. Hand over the item and I will let you die a quick death. The Zephyr Realm expert was very cold. There was no appreciation in his eyes. Your martial ancestor is chasing after me, and even the Zephyr Realm expert is here for an item. However, I don't know what I took from you guys. Zichen felt wronged. He was chased all the way for an item, but he did not even know what it was. You still don't want to admit it? If that old man did not give you that item, would you be able to survive until now? Do you think you have the means to kill those above your level? The Zephyr Realm expert sneered. His eyes were filled with killing intent. I don't know what you are talking about, and I don't know what item you are talking about. Zichen said as he held Wang Xian'er's hand tightly. Waves of energy surged into her body. The two of them had a secret conversation before. If there was no other way, they would enter the Thunder region, even if it meant death. Hand over the item, and I will leave your corpse intact. The Zephyr Realm expert said coldly. Apparently, he had lost his patience. Chapter 109. Outside of the mysterious Thunder territory, Zichen and Wang Xian'er did not wait for any strong cultivators. Instead, they first encountered the martial ancestors' Zephyr Realm cultivators. In front of them was a Zephyr Realm cultivator, who could kill them with a single blow. Behind them was the Thunder territory, which was even more terrifying. I don't know her well. We only met on the road. You want to kill me, not her. Can you let her go? At this moment, Zichen wanted to save Wang Xian'er. They had no enmity with each other. Everything was because of his words, which implicated the other party. Kid, stop dreaming. We know who she is, and we also know that you don't know her well. But do you know how many of our people died in the hands of the people of Yunxia City? Let her go. You're dreaming. Yunxia City killed many of our martial ancestors' disciples. Today, neither of you will live. Yunxia City, so what? Our martial ancestor is not afraid. Before the Zephyr Realm cultivator could speak, the disciples behind him shouted loudly. They were also very sullen. They only came to kill Zichen, but many of them were killed by Yunxia City for no reason. The Zephyr Realm cultivator did not catch up with Zichen because of the obstruction from the Yunxia City. Both sides were engaged in a fierce battle, which delayed the time. Otherwise, Zichen would have died in the hands of the Zephyr Realm cultivator. You only know that she is from Yunxia City, but do you know her identity? It's fine to kill a nobody like me, but if you kill her, your martial ancestor will have to bear the endless anger of Yunxia City, Zichen said. The second genius of Yunxia City, the daughter of Yunxia City's Lord Wang Zhentian, Wang Xian'er. What a pity. If it was before, our martial ancestor would naturally not care about you. But this time, your Yunxia City killed many of our martial ancestors' disciples. You are too much. I can spare your life, but I will have to trouble you to go to our martial ancestor and ask Wang Zhentian to come to our martial ancestor personally. The Zephyr expert's tone was cold. If one looked carefully, they would naturally notice that there were many small holes on the opponent's black clothes, as if they were pierced by sharp weapons. Along the way, he had engaged in numerous battles with the Zephyr flight cultivators, allowing Zichen and Wang Xian'er to escape time and time again. The rumbling of thunder behind him couldn't mask the killing intent in his heart. The people here were all followers of the martial ancestor. Even if he killed him and Wang Xian'er, no one would be able to witness it. The two of them had died in vain today. Zichen held onto Wang Xian'er tightly as he paid close attention to the movements of the Zephyr Realm expert. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead. It was time to decide life and death. However, at this moment, a loud and clear roar sounded from afar. You want my big brother to go to the martial ancestor personally? Liu Qingfeng, you sure talk big. You've been holed up in the martial ancestor for so many years, and your strength hasn't increased at all, but you sure talk big. His voice was loud and clear, penetrating through the layers of air, shaking people's eardrums to the point of pain. This is Uncle's voice. Our reinforcements are here. Hearing the familiar voice, Wang Xian'er was very excited. A strong aura surged from the horizon as a tall figure appeared. He was as tall as a mountain, and his aura was imposing. He was like a giant of the world, domineering and ostentatious. He came from the sky, and with a single step, the void trembled and distorted. This appearance was much stronger than the martial ancestors' Zephyr flight. However, the other party didn't arrogantly provoke the Thunder region. Instead, he landed slowly and walked over step by step from afar. It was as if he had shrunk the ground into an inch, and he arrived in a few steps. Wang Zhenwei. The pupils of the martial ancestors' Zephyr flight cultivator suddenly shrank, and there was surprise and fear in his eyes. Wang Zhenwei had a prominent reputation in Yunxia City, and his combat strength was definitely in the top 3. The martial ancestors' Zephyr flight had no chance of winning in this fierce battle. Liu Qingfeng, long time no see. Your strength is still weak, but your courage and ability have grown. In the past, you relied on your strength to bully the weak. Now, you're even more promising. You're a Zephyr flight cultivator, but you're actually attacking a true Qi realm brat. Wang Zhenwei's eyes were filled with disdain. TSK, your martial ancestors' men are really good. Liu Qingfeng's face turned red and white. Rumble. At this moment, the heavens and earth shook again, and a few more figures came from afar. The one leading them was a man wearing a green armor. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyes were bright like the morning light. He had an outstanding temperament, and the green armor on his body was shining brightly. His every movement was filled with a heroic spirit. Although there were 3 of them, everyone's gaze was subconsciously placed on each other. This kind of person was like a crane in a flock of chickens, and he would be the center of attention wherever he went. Wang Qiong. Zi Chen had only caught a glimpse of Wang Qiong before, as he was in a hurry to escape. Now that they met again, Wang Qiong still gave Zi Chen a great shock. This was a genius with a steady aura, and his eyes were as bright as the stars. Just when Zi Chen was sizing up Wang Qiong also looked at Zi Chen. In an instant, Wang Qiong's eyes were like Xing Chen's, emitting a red glow. Zi Chen saw a burning flame, and a killing intent. Not good. Zi Chen knew that something was wrong. Wang Qiong wanted to kill him, and it seemed like he already knew the whole story. He knew that Zi Chen had implicated Wang Qiong's sister. Brother. Wang Xiana cried out in surprise. There were 2 people following behind Wang Qiong. One of them was the Zephyr flight realm expert that was chasing after them, but he was restrained by another man in green. Obviously, the other party was also a Zephyr flight realm expert. You guys. Liu Qingfeng's expression changed instantly. His companion was actually restrained. Liu Qingfeng, you dare to attack the people of Yunxia City? Be careful, or you won't be able to return alive, Wang Zhenwei said coldly. In the distance, the 2 Zephyrs had already stopped. Wang Qiong walked straight towards them. His body flickered with a green light, blocking the lightning pressure. Wherever he passed, the black-clothed men would make way for him, fearing that they would not be able to avoid him. Along the way, the number of martial ancestors' disciples that Wang Qiong had killed had already reached double digits. He was definitely the kind of person who would kill without batting an eyelid. Amidst the pressure of the lightning, Wang Qiong walked forward as though he was walking on flat ground. Green light flickered around him as the lightning was repelled. He soon arrived in front of Liu Qingfeng and walked past Liu Qingfeng and Wang Zhenwei, heading towards Wang Xian. Liu Qingfeng did not stop him, and Wang Zhenwei was looking at him coldly. As he got closer, Wang Qiong saw Wang Xian's severely injured body and haggard appearance in the silver light. His heart ached, and the anger and killing intent in his eyes intensified. He coldly glanced at Zi Chen. Let go of her. At this moment, Zi Chen was still holding Wang Xian's hand. Wang Qiong shouted coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. Zi Chen pursed his lips, wanting to say something, but in the end, he closed his mouth and let go of Wang Xian. In an instant, the silver light on Wang Xian's body dissipated, and a green light fell on Wang Xian's body. Let's go back. Let's see if you can still be willful in the future. This is a lesson for you. Wang Qiong seemed to be reprimanding her, but the concern and heartache in his eyes were obvious. It seemed that Wang Qiong was extraordinarily good to his genius sister. Oh. Wang Xiana stuck out her tongue, looking very obedient, and let her brother hold her hand. After that, The two of them walked out. During this time, Wang Qiong did not look at Zi Chen at all, completely ignoring him. After a few steps, Wang Xiana suddenly stopped and turned to Zi Chen, saying, "Zi Chen, let's go. Why are you still standing there in a daze? Are we saved?" Wang Qiong turned and looked directly at Zi Chen. His eyes were cold and emotionless, and he had no intention of taking him away. Zi Chen had kidnapped his sister and even injured her. Wang Qiong was very prejudiced against him. It was already merciful that he did not attack him when they met. Zi Chen smiled bitterly. "You can go. I still want to stay here for a while." Obviously, this matter had blown up. The people of Yunxia City would not care about him. From Wang Qiong's indifferent eyes, Zi Chen was not stupid. He had already seen this point. "No, you have to come with me. You will die if you stay here. You saved me, I can't let you die here." Wang Xiana cried out. "Xian you are not related to him. His life and death has nothing to do with you. Come with me. This is someone else's matter. Someone will deal with it." Wang Qiong suppressed the anger in his heart and pulled Wang Xiana away. "No, he saved my life." Wang Xiana pouted and stubbornly said, appearing unruly. "He almost killed you. How can he be your savior? I am already giving you face by not killing him on the spot. Don't mess around and come with me." Wang Qiong's voice was cold as he pulled Wang Xiana away. Liu Qingfeng did not say anything. Wang Qiong was only pulling Wang Xiana away. Their goal was only Zi Chen. As long as they did not take Zi Chen away, it would be fine. This could be considered giving face to Wang Zhenwei. "No, I won't go." Wang Xiana insisted and threw a tantrum. However, under Wang Qiong's green light, she could not help but move forward, unable to break free. "Uncle, hurry up and save Zi Chen. We, the people of Yunxia City, are not ungrateful people. He has saved me many times." Since it was useless to throw a tantrum in front of her brother, Wang Xiana simply shouted at Wang Zhenwei. Wang Zhenwei had been sizing up Zi Chen. When he saw the silver light on Wang Xiana's body dissipate, his eyes narrowed and a bright light flashed in them. Although he was only in the true energy realm, he was able to stand at the periphery of the lightning region and was immune to the terrifying pressure. Furthermore, Wang Zhenwei was also very curious. What did the martial ancestor want from this little guy? They even sent out Zephyr realm experts. "Uncle, please save Zi Chen. He is my savior. If he dies today, I will never forgive you for the rest of my life." Wang Xiana shouted again. She sounded like she was about to cry. Tears fell from her eyes like pearls. Yunxia City is naturally not that kind of villain. Since this little guy saved Xian I can't watch him die. "Qiong go and bring that little guy here," Wang Zhenwei suddenly said. "Wang Zhenwei, this is our martial ancestor's matter. Are you going to intervene?" Liu Qingfeng's face changed and his eyes flashed coldly. "I don't care about your matters. I am just saving Xian savior," Wang Zhenwei said coldly. Wang Qiong, who was beside him, did not move. He was very annoyed that he had saved this guy. No matter how his sister urged him, he still did not move. However, he could not wait for Liu Qingfeng to kill him immediately. "Wang Zhenwei, don't go too far." A murderous intent gushed out from Liu Qingfeng. It was impossible for the other party to take Zi Chen away. "Why? Are you not happy?" Chapter 110. Wang Zhenwei was very powerful and was very famous in the southern region. His combat strength could be ranked in the top 3 of Yunxia City. He was definitely a strong person. He glared at Liu Qingfeng, and his aura surged. His killing intent had already locked onto Liu Qingfeng, and the latter could not help but tremble. The two had fought many years ago. At that time, Wang Zhenwei had almost crippled him. At that time, Liu Qingfeng had not yet entered the martial ancestor. Although he had learned a lot from the martial ancestor over the years, he did not think that he could deal with Wang Zhenwei. "Wang Zhenwei, you have to understand that this person is wanted by our martial ancestor. This person is also part of our martial ancestor. If your Yunxia City interferes, you will become an enemy of our martial ancestor. Do you want to start a war with our martial ancestor?" Liu Qingfeng's strength was not as good as the others, so he simply used his status to suppress the others. Humph, I naturally don't care about your business, but if this child dies today, where will the reputation of Yunxia City go? Won't others say that we are ungrateful? Wang Zhenwei glared, and his aura surged, bringing a lot of pressure. If I let you take this person away today, where will I put my face? Where will the face of Yunxia City go? What do you mean? Liu Qingfeng's voice was cold and very strong. But in his heart, he was complaining. His strength was no match for the others, and his own side's Yukong had been captured. The situation was very unfavorable for him. My meaning is very clear. I want to take this little guy away. Today, I want to protect him. Yunxia City is indebted to him. Wang Zhenwei was very direct, but his words left some leeway. Liu Qingfeng was not an idiot. Wang Zhenwei's meaning was very clear. Zichen could live today because Liu Qingfeng could protect him today, but it was hard to say what would happen tomorrow. Liu Qingfeng understood this logic, but if he really waited until tomorrow, Zichen would really be Zichen, and the things on him would have already been taken away by Wang Zhenwei. He was not stupid, and the other party was not stupid either. The martial ancestor was chasing after a true Qi realm cultivator, and he had even used the flight step. It was obvious that he had a plan. The other party had protected Zichen, and it was not as simple as a favor. No, this is our martial ancestor's business. If you insist on interfering, I can only assume that you are willing to start a war with our martial ancestor, Liu Qingfeng said firmly. Liu Qingfeng, are you looking to die today? Wang Zhenwei was furious. The more Liu Qingfeng insisted, the more he felt that there was something important on Zichen. The two sides were in a stalemate. As for Zichen, he seemed to be very calm. Both sides were going back and forth, aiming for the things on his body. He knew this very well, but what did he have? There was nothing but a broken black armor. That was a defensive essence array given to him by the Grand Elder. Back then, the Grand Elder had casually given it to him and didn't say that it was a precious treasure. Although Zichen suspected that they wanted the black armor, he didn't dare to be sure. At this moment, his life and death had already been decided. Wang Zhenwei had protected him, and would definitely take the black armor. As for tomorrow, the martial ancestor's people would instantly destroy him. If Wang Zhenwei did not protect him, then he would die now. Sooner or later, he would die. It was just a matter of whether it was a day later or a day earlier. Rather than putting his life in the hands of others, Zichen would rather take a gamble. He would gamble that the black armor was not what they wanted, and that it was not that powerful. Just as he was thinking, the two sides finished their discussion. In the end, they did not attack, and the weaker Liu Qingfeng compromised. It was not worth it to give up his life for an item. All right, today I will give you face, Wang Zhenwei. If it was someone else, I would naturally fight with them, Liu Qingfeng said coldly, giving himself a way out of this embarrassing situation. In the distance, although the martial ancestors' children were dissatisfied, they did not dare to say anything. There was no place for them to speak. All right, Chong-er, take Zichen and leave. As for that trash, you can let him go, Wang Zhenwei said indifferently. Wang Qiong also saw the development of the situation. He knew that Zichen had a precious treasure on him, so he directly walked towards Zichen. Zichen's eyes flickered. If he was taken away by Wang Qiong, his life would fall into the hands of the other party. Chen-ph, brat, consider yourself lucky. Wang Qiong snorted coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. It was obvious that he would not let Zichen off. He would kill him sooner or later. Zichen did not say anything and just looked at the other party. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. Zichen's pupils constricted and he made up his mind, now. Boom. Suddenly, a berserk aura surged. Liu Qingfeng had actually attacked at this moment. His huge hand was glowing with a resplendent light and it instantly shot towards Zichen. A terrifying aura surged out and a torrential killing intent appeared. The huge palm carried an indomitable force as it moved forward. It was determined to kill Zichen in one strike. Liu Qingfeng had attacked, but it was a sneak attack. This was out of everyone's expectations. Liu Qingfeng, how dare you? Wang Zhenwei's expression changed. He had not expected Lin Fan to be so shameless. When he reacted, it was already too late. The attack of the Imperial Sky Warrior could reach him in an instant. "Mph, Wang Zhenwei, my martial ancestors' matter is not something you can interfere with." Liu Qingfeng snorted coldly and his palm moved even faster and more ferociously. Boom! A torrential aura surged towards him from behind. Wang Qiong subconsciously dodged to the side. Then, the huge palm moved towards Zi Chen to grab him. At this moment, Zi Chen had made up his mind. Just as the palm completely enveloped him, his body flashed and he transformed into a ray of light and rushed into the lightning field. Rumble. The light of the palm flickered like a fist. In an instant, a rumbling sound was heard. A boundless energy surged and wreaked havoc. The space started to distort violently. The powerful attack of the Imperial Sky Warrior was extremely terrifying. Wang Qiong's body transformed into a ray of green light and he continuously retreated, barely avoiding the impact of the shockwaves. The entire space was trembling. The place where the 5 fingers clenched produced a loud rumbling sound. A terrifying energy was crazily surging, emitting a destructive aura. With such a powerful attack, not to mention a true energy realm warrior, even a true energy realm warrior would die without a burial place. The torrential energy gradually dissipated and the heaven and earth returned to silence. The distorted space once again returned to normal. However, the place where Zi Chen had been standing before was now empty. It was as if he had been blasted into nothingness by the Imperial Sky Warrior's attack. "Zi Chen!" Wang Xian exclaimed. Her beautiful face turned pale and tears flowed down her cheeks. Obviously, she thought that Zi Chen had been blasted into nothingness. How is this possible? Liu Qingfeng's face was also filled with disbelief. It was normal for him to be able to kill his opponent with a single attack. However, Liu Qingfeng did not expect that his attack would be able to blast his opponent into nothingness. Could it be that the item is really not in his hands? At this moment, Liu Qingfeng also hesitated. He made his move. His palm print enveloped Zi Chen, but in the end, when Zi Chen flashed into the lightning region, he blocked everyone's view. As for Wang Zhenwei and the rest, all their attention was on Liu Qingfeng. They did not look at Zi Chen. Therefore, no one saw Zi Chen flash into the lightning field. Impossible. According to his performance along the way, it's impossible for him to be blasted into nothingness. Liu Qingfeng let out a strange cry. He tapped his foot and rushed into the lightning field. "Liu Qingfeng, how dare you play with me?" Wang Zhenwei shouted angrily and rushed into the lightning territory. "No." Wang Xian was heartbroken and tears flowed down her face. Along the way, Zi Chen had taken good care of her and used his body to shield her. She even promised him that once they were saved, she would bring him back to Yunxia City and protect him from being hunted down. But now, he had been blasted into nothingness. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with tears. Her body swayed and she almost fell to the ground. Wang Qiong hurriedly supported her and said, "Little sister, you are the chosen of the heavens. He is just an insignificant character who used some petty tricks to almost harm you. He deserves to die. Why are you so sad?" Woo woo. It was fine if Wang Qiong did not say anything. If he did, Wang Xian would be even sadder. She was smart enough to understand what Wang Qiong meant, but it was not appropriate for her to say it out loud. She was still thinking of begging her uncle to save Zi Chen after leaving this place. The 2 Imperial Sky Realm experts rushed into the lightning field one after another. Protective Yuan Qi spread out, supporting a stable space for the 2 of them. Thunder and lightning fell, but it was unable to destroy their protective light shield. After the 2 of them entered, they checked their surroundings. In their opinion, Zi Chen should have died here. However, after advancing for hundreds of meters, they did not find Zi Chen's body. Could it be that he was blasted into nothingness? Liu Qingfeng hesitated at this moment. He was not sure if the treasure was with Wang Qiong. If it was impossible for him to be blasted into nothingness. But if it was not, it did not make sense that Wang Qiong did not die after being hunted down so many times. Wang Zhenwei did not say anything and continued flying forward. He did not believe that Wang Qiong was dead. Liu Qingfeng followed. The two of them advanced for hundreds of meters. The thunder and lightning in the depths were stronger and more ferocious. The two of them could not bear it anymore. In this area, the two of them no longer looked for corpses. Instead, they looked for things that could be left behind. The entire lightning field was filled with thunder and lightning. Not to mention a true Qi realm expert, even if they died, there would not be a corpse left behind. They would be blasted into nothingness by the thunder and lightning. It's impossible. Liu Qingfeng did not believe in heresy. He continued to advance. This time, he went to the area where he could withstand the thunder and lightning. If he went any further, the thunder and lightning would take his life. He continued to search in this area, carefully, not letting go of any corner. Unfortunately, there was still nothing. Could it be that the old man really did not give it to him, or that the old man did not have it? Liu Qingfeng was hesitant as he walked out of the lightning field. When Wang Zhenwei heard Liu Qingfeng's muttering, he snorted and said, "When has your martial ancestor ever been reliable?" After he finished speaking, he waved his sleeves and walked out. Obviously, he had given up on searching. Liu Qingfeng was unwilling to give up. He looked around again, but still found nothing. He could only leave reluctantly. Outside, everyone was waiting. When they saw the two of them walk out, and Zichen did not appear, Wang Xianer's eyes turned red again. "Let's go." Wang Zhenwei sighed. "This is fate. That brat is doomed today. No one can save him. No, I don't believe that he will die. He will not die." Wang Xianer rushed out of the lightning field like a madwoman, but she was caught by Wang Qiong. "Take Xianer back. After such a big thing happened, your parents are worried sick." The people of Yunxia City left. The martial ancestors' people could only leave unwillingly. The hunt for Zichen came to an end. Everyone had left. Only a few corpses were left lying on the ground. Wang Xianer looked back 3 times with reluctance in her eyes. She murmured, "I will come back to see you." Chapter 111. Within the lightning dominion, thousands of bolts of lightning wreaked havoc. They were endless and would never dissipate, destroying everything that could be destroyed. Other than lightning, there was nothing else. It was completely empty. It was rumored that the lightning dominion had appeared because a corner of the lightning divine palace had collapsed. It was very mysterious, and the lightning it contained was extremely terrifying. Even if it was a flying expert, they would only be able to advance a few thousand meters to the 3rd layer. The lightning dominion had been around for tens of thousands of years. It had become a place where some big shots would use the power of lightning to refine weapons. According to the power of the lightning, this place was divided into 9 layers. Of which, the 9th layer had the most terrifying lightning. It was rumored that in the center, there was a treasure that belonged to the lightning divine palace. However, no one had ever found it. In the 3rd layer, Wang Zhenwei and Liu Qingfeng searched for a while, but to no avail. They left one after another. The limit for the two of them was the 3rd level. After they left, a figure emerged from the edge of the 3rd level of the lightning field, from the 4th level of the lightning field. That person was wearing black clothes. His clothes were tattered and stained with blood. He was in a very sorry state. At this moment, his body was emitting a silver light that blocked the lightning of the 3rd layer. He was very young, and his eyes were emitting lightning. He was Zichen, who had entered the lightning dominion. His life was in his own hands. It was with this thought that Zichen had decided to enter the lightning dominion. However, he had never expected that Liu Qingfeng would choose to launch a sneak attack after compromising. Luckily, he had reacted quickly and dodged that attack. His silhouette flickered as he entered the Thunder Dominion. All he could see was lightning, densely packed and terrifying. However, these lightning bolts didn't kill Zichen. His body was surrounded by a resplendent silver light, forming a silver light shield. When the lightning bolts fell, they automatically parted and bypassed him. Since he wasn't immediately struck to death, Zichen knew that he had made the right bet. He was immune to the lightning energy here. Thus, his figure flickered and he fled deeper into the lightning dominion. Liu Qingfeng and the others quickly caught up. At this time, Zichen had already entered the 2nd layer, followed by the 3rd layer, and finally the fourth layer. When he reached the fourth level, Zichen felt that he had reached his limit. Furthermore, he could feel a terrifying aura coming from the lightning. This aura was extremely dangerous, so he didn't proceed any further. Instead, he hid at the edge of the fourth level. His heart was beating, and waves of silver energy gushed out, providing him with an unending stream of energy. At the same time, Zichen felt that the heavenly lightning body tempering art in his body was also circulating crazily here. Its speed was several times faster than the outside world. Furthermore, as it circulated, there was a faint silvery energy being absorbed by his body. Within the lightning dominion, there was only one type of energy, and that was lightning energy. Feeling his body absorbing the lightning energy, Zichen was startled. Then, he was overjoyed. However, this absorption speed was too slow. Several hours later, Zichen guessed that the other party had already left, so he walked out of the fourth level of the Thunder Dominion. When he reached the third floor, Zichen felt that the pressure on him had lessened a lot. Thus, after carefully walking around the first 3 floors, he cautiously looked outside. Through the thin lightning barrier, Zichen saw that the outside world was empty. He finally came to the conclusion that everyone had left. Being careful, he didn't immediately leave. Instead, he stayed in the Thunder Dominion. He sat down cross-legged and revolved the heavenly lightning body tempering art. Waves of silver energy passed through his skin and surged into his body. During this time, Zichen sat down in the 4 levels of the Thunder Dominion. He discovered that the pressure on the first level was the lowest, and the silver energy was absorbed the fastest. The pressure on the 4th level was the highest, and the absorption speed was also the slowest. Thus, for the next period of time, Zichen stayed in the 1st level of the Thunder Dominion. His strength had already reached the peak of the 10th level of true energy. He had already swallowed all the true energy pills, and there were no more true energy pills to swallow. But the endless lightning energy here provided convenience for Zichen. The lightning energy entered his body through his skin, followed his blood and bones, and finally reached his meridians. During this time, Zichen's body was undergoing changes. Then, this energy was absorbed by his heart, refined once again, and then fed back to his body. This was a kind of transformation that would occur when one was about to reach the Xiantian realm. His physique had already reached its limit, but under this endless lightning energy, it was undergoing an earth-shattering transformation. At the same time, Zichen's true energy was also growing bit by bit. But compared to his physique, the growth rate of his true energy was not very fast. The heavenly lightning body tempering art paid the most attention to the body, physique, and bones. The silver lightning energy passed through his body, changing his physique. This was a kind of qualitative transformation, and Zichen could clearly feel the changes in his body. The silver energy entered his body like a warm current, nourishing his body, causing it to constantly transform. His entire body bloomed with silver light, shining with a dazzling light. He was heroic and dignified, like a god of thunder, sitting cross-legged in the midst of thousands of lightning bolts. The surrounding lightning constantly flashed, like snakes of lightning, twisting and twisting. Its power was terrifying, but Zichen calmly sat down, dodging all the lightning bolts, creating a safe space for himself. Boom! Zichen's body rumbled, as if thunder and lightning were exploding. This was the transformation of his bones after absorbing the lightning. The rhythm produced was like the sound of the great Tao. The heavenly lightning body tempering art seemed simple, but it was incomparably mysterious. This was a kind of cultivation technique that could absorb the power of lightning and transform it into several bodies. It was a powerful cultivation technique that could temper the body. His blood was boiling, and his qi and blood were exuberant. It was like a monstrous wave, surging violently, and a powerful energy was wreaking havoc. Zichen's whole body was emitting a bright silver light, like the light of a treasure, dazzling and dazzling. Time passed, and Zichen sank into meditation. There was no day or night, and time seemed to have become eternal, motionless. The lightning energy in the lightning dominion was endless. Just like lightning, there was no beginning and no end. At first, Zichen could only feel the lightning energy, but the longer he meditated, the faster his strength increased. Chen could already see with the naked eye traces of lightning energy entering his body from his 7 apertures and pores. Breaking through from the peak of Zhenqi to the Xiantian realm was a qualitative transformation. It was like a heavenly chasm, with a huge gap. This gap was at least 10 times. Under normal circumstances, a Xiantian realm expert could easily kill a Zhenqi realm expert. Only some geniuses of the present age had the means to kill a Zhenqi realm expert. Of course, there were also some special circumstances, like how Chen relied on the pressure of lightning to kill a Zhenqi realm expert. Traces of lightning entered his body, and Chen's treasure light was solemn, undergoing a transformation. Rumble. 10 days later, rumbling sounds came from Chen's body again, like the sound of heavenly thunder. His bones buzzed, and his joints emitted a bright silver light. This time, the light came from Chen's body, resplendent silver. At the same time, his Zhenqi was also advancing towards the Xiantian realm. This was the rhythm of a breakthrough. In the following period of time, rumbling sounds came from Chen's body, as if there was lightning surging within him. It was as if heavenly thunder was tempering his body, echoing over and over again. Another 10 days passed, and Chen's physique had already broken through to a certain limit. Thunder rumbled, like the rhythm of the great Tao. The Zhenqi of the 10th layer had finally undergone a qualitative transformation after accumulating for a period of time. Within the silver Zhenqi, there were flashes of lightning. Zhenqi was advancing towards the Xiantian realm. This was a transformation of substance. Xiantian Zhenqi was more condensed. It could leave the body and take the form of sword qi, saber qi, fist qi, and attack. Moreover, its density was definitely more than 10 times that of ordinary Zhenqi. Chen's Zhenqi was originally extremely pure, far surpassing that of ordinary people. Now that he was advancing towards the Xiantian realm, the quality of his Zhenqi had increased by several realms. This transformation was naturally slow. He sat upright in the lightning field, like a thunder god, emitting a solemn and dignified aura. He absorbed the lightning energy to accelerate his breakthrough. Time passed, day by day, and Chen's transformation finally came to an end. About 10 days later, the last trace of Chen's Zhenqi had transformed into Xiantian Zhenqi. Boom! A surging aura emitted from his body, and vigorous qi and blood surged within his body like great waves. Chen's body was shining with a silver light, like a silver-armored god of war. His eyes were as sharp as lightning, and his body emitted a powerful aura. At the same time, his body also emitted an unparalleled pressure. After more than a month, Chen had finally made a breakthrough. Chen clenched his fists, and his knuckles made cracking sounds. He could clearly feel the terrifying energy contained within his body. Without Zhenqi, I can kill a person of the same level with just my body. Chen clenched his fists, and after feeling the power in his body, his eyes shone. In Abdomen's body, the Xiantian Zhenqi had all turned silver, and there were streaks of lightning flashing in it. It was very pure. His strength had broken through to the Xiantian realm, and his physique had improved several times. Chen's transformation had brought about earth-shattering changes. Kai. 2 fingers pointed forward, and a silver sword qi had already left his body, shooting forward and finally dissipating in the lightning field. In the Xiantian realm, the substantialized Xiantian Zhenqi could leave the body and attack with sharper attacks. Breakthrough, finally breakthrough. Now if I'm still being chased, I won't be in such a difficult situation. Chen sighed in his heart. In order to make a breakthrough, he needed to stabilize his strength. Chen did not leave immediately. In the following time, he sat cross-legged and began to stabilize his realm. Without the Xiantian pellet, Chen could only absorb more lightning energy. A few days later, Chen's realm finally stabilized, and at the same time, he also familiarized himself with his current realm. In the lightning field, Chen was sitting cross-legged, calming his qi, and entering into an ethereal state. Chen had not entered this state for several months. In the space of thunder and lightning surged crazily. Then, a young man made of thunder and lightning appeared. He looked like Chen, but his body was formed by thunder and lightning. He looked even younger, like a young man. The lightning youth suddenly appeared, standing in the distance. His eyes were cold, and his whole body was like a bolt of lightning, showing off his sharpness. Why did the lightning youth appear again? For the lightning youth's appearance, Chen was very puzzled. According to reason, the other party should not appear, because he had already mastered all the battle skills. However, in the next moment, the lightning youth pointed at Chen. Bang! A dazzling lightning appeared. Chapter 112. A bolt of lightning surged out from his finger. It twisted and twisted, shining with a brilliant silver light. It was like a lightning dragon, bringing with it a terrifying aura as it rushed towards Chen. This was the incomplete Thunderbolt Finger technique, Thunderbolt Finger. Chen had long since mastered this technique, so there was nothing strange about it. Shua. He tapped his foot and a silver light flashed. 9 flashes of thunder appeared. His figure was like a ghost as he instantly dodged this attack. But at this moment, a strange change occurred. The youth who used Thunderbolt Finger did not stop there. A silver light danced between his fingers as he began to form seals. This was a seal that was even more complex than Thunderbolt Finger. The hand seals were complex, mysterious, and difficult to understand, but there was an indescribable energy circulating within them. The young man formed the hand seals, his silver fingers jumping about like fairies, abnormally nimble. In an instant, the complex hand seals reached the end. The lightning youth's fingers shined with a dazzling silver light. A terrifying aura appeared between his fingers. Boom! As the seals fell, the lightning began to surge. Streaks of lightning appeared from the young man's body, resplendent and terrifying. Every streak of lightning had the power of the Thunderbolt Finger from before. There were over 1,000 streaks of lightning that filled the heavens and the earth. They were extremely powerful, like a huge net of lightning, densely packed, covering the heavens and the earth as they moved towards Chen. What is this? What a terrifying power! Chen's expression changed. There was no way for him to dodge the lightning that filled the sky. The 9 flashes of thunder beneath his feet constantly flickered as he tried to avoid the lightning. But there were too many lightning bolts and their power was terrifying. In an instant, they enveloped Chen. Then, the lightning exploded, causing a rumbling sound. Within the Thunder Dominion, Chen opened his eyes. There was shock in his eyes. Thunderbolt Finger was an incomplete battle skill. There was only one move, Thunderbolt Finger. But what the lightning youth used just now was clearly the more complex Thunderbolt Finger. This was not recorded in the previous battle skills. Could it be that the lightning youth restored Thunderbolt Finger? Chen guessed. He was incomparably shocked. Unfortunately, in the previous attack, he had been blasted away by thousands of lightning bolts. He had not been able to carefully look at the seals. After thinking about it for a full hour, Chen still couldn't figure it out, so he decided to look at it again. Focusing his mind and calming his chi, Chen entered a meditative state once more. His body glowed with a brilliant silver light. A moment later, he entered the space of lightning once more. As the lightning in the space surged, the lightning youth appeared. His eyes were as sharp as lightning, and his entire body was filled with a tyrannical lightning aura. The moment he appeared, he had already struck out with his Thunderbolt Finger. A Thunderbolt Finger, a lightning dragon roared as it rushed towards Chen. Chen dodged the attack with ease. Following that, the lightning youth once again formed a complicated hand seal. Chen's eyes were glued to the youth's hand. The other party's fingers were shining with a brilliant silver light, as if they were made of pure silver. However, they were exceptionally nimble. Soon, one after another, complex hand seals were formed. Following that, even more lightning appeared and surrounded Chen. The lightning exploded, emitting a terrifying energy. Chen's figure disappeared from the space of lightning. This is the complete version of the Thunderbolt Finger. Its power is peerless. It's definitely the strongest Xiantian battle skill. In the lightning territory, Chen opened his eyes. There was a trace of ecstasy in the depths of his eyes. This lightning youth was indeed extraordinary. He actually managed to evolve the complete version of the Thunderbolt Finger. Suddenly, Chen's eyes lit up. If the lightning youth can evolve the complete version of the Thunderbolt Finger, I wonder what the complete version of the Thunderbolt 9 Deaths will be like. Will he be able to evolve it? Thinking of this, Zichen's heart became very eager. The Thunderbolt 9 Deaths was known as the fastest speed in the world. Now, Zichen had only mastered one of the 9 Deaths, and his speed was already far beyond his peers. If he could master the 9 Deaths, wouldn't he be invincible under the heavens? Zichen's heart stirred. He once again sat down cross-legged, wanting to sense the existence of the Thunderbolt 9 Deaths. Unfortunately, he had consumed too much energy today. The lightning youth couldn't condense it. Zichen was very regretful. He could only wait until tomorrow. Very few people came to the lightning territory. Cultivating here, Zichen was very safe. Moreover, 2 months had already passed. Even if Wang Zhenwei and the others suspected that Zichen hadn't died, they would give up if they saw that Zichen hadn't appeared for a long time. Another day later, Zichen opened his eyes. He glanced at the lightning territory, his heart full of reluctance. This was a good place to cultivate, but unfortunately, it wasn't suitable for the current him. Zichen was starving to death. Before, he had been cultivating in peace, breaking through to the next realm, and absorbing the lightning energy to temper his body. He had been in a deep state of comprehension, so he hadn't felt hunger. But as soon as he woke up, Zichen felt the hunger attack him. Now, he was so hungry that his heart was sticking to his back. He had no choice but to leave. It's time to go. Otherwise, I'll starve to death here. Next time, I'll bring enough food and cultivate here. Zichen said in his heart. Before leaving, Zichen once again entered the 4th layer of the lightning territory. He wanted to see if there was anything special here. After searching for a while, Zichen finally made a discovery. It was a fist-sized stone that emitted a faint golden light. It looked like an abandoned refining material. It was only the size of a fist, but it weighed several hundred jins. It was incomparably heavy. When Zichen picked it up, he didn't pay attention. His body staggered and he almost fell down. A Zephyr Realm expert could only reach the 3rd layer of the lightning territory. But Zichen found a faint golden stone in the 4th layer. It was only the size of a fist, shining with a golden light, and its surface was very smooth. It could destroy a Zephyr Realm expert's lightning, but it didn't destroy him. Naturally, it wasn't an ordinary object. I'll take it out and sell it. It'll solve my urgent need. After being chased for several months, besides his life, Zichen had lost everything he could lose. He even lost the 2 true Yuan skills that he wanted to give to the Xian martial ancestor. He only had his black armor, tattered clothes, and his life. After leaving the lightning territory, he had to make a living. This strange stone was just right for him to sell. As for the way to go, Zichen had already thought of it. It was the floating snow city, which had the same name as Yunxia City. In Yunxia City, Wang Xiana treated him well. If Zichen went to find her, he would naturally be protected. But Wang Zhenwei wanted to steal his treasures, and Wang Qiong wanted to kill him. With these 2 people around, Zichen's life would definitely be difficult. So, he couldn't go to Yunxia City. As for Zhongli City, it wasn't far from the martial ancestor. There were often disciples of the martial ancestor entering Zhongli City. So, Zichen couldn't go there. He could only go to floating snow city. According to the books, snowflakes would fall from the sky all year round in floating snow city. It was a very strange place. Holding the strange stone, after more than 2 months, Zichen finally walked out of the lightning territory. Taking a deep breath, Zichen removed the silver light shield on his body and walked directly to the outside world. His strength had broken through to the Xiantian realm, and his physique had undergone another transformation. Zichen didn't need to rely on the light shield to resist the pressure of the thunder. Outside the lightning territory, it was dead silent. There were no birds in the sky, and no beasts on the ground. It was abnormally quiet. Only the rumbling of thunder and lightning could be heard, spreading out for miles. Zichen was so hungry that his heart was stuck to his back. He could only look for something to eat first. But before he could walk out of the range of the thunder and lightning, he saw a figure sitting cross-legged on a large stone in front of him. It was a man, sitting cross-legged in cultivation. Chen had just walked out of the thunder and lightning when he saw the other person. At the same time, the other person also sensed his presence and opened his eyes. It's you. Chen, you really didn't die? The man opened his eyes and was shocked when he saw Chen. Chen's pupils shrank, and his eyes instantly turned cold. This person was dressed in black, similar to the clothes of the martial ancestors' people. Now that he said his name, it was obvious that he was one of the martial ancestors' people. These damned bastards, they still haven't left. Chen knew that things weren't good. He had just appeared and his tracks had already been discovered. He didn't want to face a new round of pursuit. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Chen's killing intent had already risen. But before he could do anything, he heard a fiendish laugh. Haha, the heavens have treated me well. I've stayed here for several months, and everyone else has already left. I'm the only one left, but I never thought that I would discover you. The black-clothed man laughed. He was very excited, and his eyes emitted a green light. Since you didn't die in the lightning territory, then that treasure must be on you. Very good, as long as I kill you, that treasure will be mine. The black-clothed man seemed very confident. With just you. Chen looked at him coldly. Haha, you're just in the true Qi realm. What can you do to me? The black-clothed man sneered, his eyes full of disdain. Along the way, Chen had killed a lot of martial ancestors' people. He had also killed a lot of people in Yunxia City, so a large number of martial ancestors' people had come. However, not all of them had fought with Chen, so not all of them knew about Chen's strength. Before, you were rumored to be a god, saying how terrible you were. Unfortunately, I didn't see it. I only saw you running away like a dog. Today, let me see it. The black-clothed man smiled disdainfully. When he came, he only saw Chen running away again and again, looking very embarrassed. As you wish. Seeing that the black-clothed man did not run away, but arrogantly came forward, Chen breathed a sigh of relief. But in the next moment, when he heard the black-clothed man's words, he became more vigilant. The idiots of Yunxia City and Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion must have retreated far away. It seems that this treasure is mine. As soon as his voice fell, the black-clothed man stepped forward. His Yantian Zhen Qi began to surge. Then, he pointed his finger and a sharp sword Qi suddenly shot towards Chen. Shua. The sword Qi was sharp and carried the power of Yantian Zhen Qi. Chen did not choose to resist. Instead, he chose to dodge. His feet flashed, dodging the sword Qi. His body turned into a silver light and rushed towards the black-clothed man. He wanted to stick to the black-clothed man so that he would not run away in fear after seeing his strength. Shua. Shua. Chen's figure flashed and turned into a silver light. His speed was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, he was in front of the black-clothed man. Boy, I have heard that you have a special physique. But I have a Xiantian protective shield. What can you do to me? The black-clothed man sneered. His Zhen Qi surged and a resplendent Xiantian protective shield appeared. At the same time, a cold light flashed and a long sword was unsheathed. With a sharp aura, it was aimed at Chen's vital points. Die. The black-clothed man sneered. His eyes flashed with a cold light. His attack was even sharper. With a terrifying Xiantian Zhen Qi, the sword flashed and arrived between Chen's eyebrows. Chen snorted and clenched his fists. His qi and blood surged in his body like a dragon waking up. He did not use his Zhen Qi, but only the strength of his body. The resplendent fist light carried a vast pressure and struck towards the long sword. Chen wanted to use his body to block the Xiantian weapon. You are courting death. The black-clothed man sneered. The tip of his sword had already touched Chen's fist. Clang. Chen's fist was dazzling and contained a destructive qi. In a flash, it dispersed the pure qi on the sword. At the same time, a huge force rushed towards the long sword. The terrifying strength was directly poured into the long sword. In a flash, cracks appeared on the long sword like a spiderweb. Then, a loud bang was heard. The Xiantian-level weapon was shattered by Chen's attack. The black-clothed man was also forced back a few steps. Chapter 113. The black-clothed man was knocked back in one blow, and his Yantian weapon was shattered. The black-clothed man's face changed, and his eyes were filled with shock. The arrogance and disdain he had before had long disappeared. Zichen's eyes emitted a cold light. Without saying a word, he arrived beside the black-clothed man and waved his fists. Silver light flickered, and a thunderous sound was heard. The power of the punch was peerless. The black-robed man's expression changed again and again. Just now, it was such a punch that had broken his weapon. He roared, and a surge of true qi gathered in his hands. Both of his hands shone with a brilliant light. Streams of true qi surged and shot towards Zichen. Boom! Zhongxian's silver fist was as powerful as a heavy hammer. Under that strike, the black-robed man suffered a heavy blow. With a muffled groan, he was sent flying backward. At the same time, his arms drooped down, and his protective zhenqi dissipated. How can you be so strong? The black-clothed man vomited blood, and his eyes were filled with fear. At this moment, he couldn't help but curse in his heart. The rumors were not reliable at all, and this person was even more terrifying than the rumors. He was injured with just 2 punches. Go to hell! Zichen's eyes flashed with killing intent. He waved his fist again, determined to kill the black-clothed man. This was a matter of life and death, so he naturally couldn't be soft-hearted. Boom! The black-clothed man was sent flying. His Yantian protective shield was shattered, and his bones were shattered. He coughed out blood, and his injuries were serious. Swoosh! The black-clothed man was terrified, and he was about to escape. At this moment, his Yantian zhenqi was madly mobilized. Where do you think you're going? Zichen's body turned into lightning, and he flashed forward, and another powerful punch was thrown. On his fist, silver light flickered, and it was dazzling. Boom! Zichen struck first, and the black-clothed man was sent flying. The black-clothed man coughed out blood, but he didn't die. His vitality was still very strong. Don't kill me, I have important news to tell you. Facing Zichen, who was filled with killing intent, the black-clothed man begged for mercy. Speak. Zichen's fist stopped in front of the black-clothed man. But you have to promise not to kill me. Zichen's eyes flashed coldly, and he said, if you don't speak, you'll die. As soon as he finished his words, his fists flickered with silver light again, and a terrifying aura surged. I'll talk, I'll talk. The man in black cried out in alarm, there are many people here. If you don't leave now, you will definitely be besieged. Who are they? There are people from our martial ancestor, people from the heavenly slaughter pavilion, and people from the Red Cloud City. You have now offended 3 forces. If you don't leave now, when they hear the commotion and come here, you will definitely die, the man in black said. How many experts are there among them? Zichen asked. A lot, a lot. Among them, there are elders of the true energy boundary and Zephyr realm. There are many of them, and they will arrive soon. The black-clothed man said, you should leave quickly. If you are late, I am afraid you will not be able to leave. Is that so? Then I'll have to thank you for your reminder. Zichen withdrew his fist and smiled faintly. You're welcome, you're welcome. The man in black smiled apologetically, but in his heart, he despised Yi Shiwen for scaring him with just 2 sentences. However, before he could curse in his heart, he felt a terrifying aura appear in front of him. It was Zichen, who had just retracted his fist, punching out again. This time, it was aimed directly at his head. Pang! With a loud sound, the bright silver light disappeared. Zichen withdrew his fist, and the black-clothed man's body fell backwards. Chen-ph, do you think I'm an idiot? So many experts will wait for me here for more than 2 months. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Zichen sneered. After killing the martial ancestor, he did not immediately leave. Instead, he walked around as if he was searching for something. After a while, Zichen found a black bag beside a big rock. He opened it and saw a few pieces of dried meat, some dry food, and a porcelain bottle with a few qi recovery pills in it. Zichen put away the qi recovery pills and took out the dry food and wolfed it down. He had not eaten for a long time and was very, very hungry. After swallowing the jerky in 2 or 3 mouthfuls, Zichen was extremely hungry. After chewing a few times, he immediately choked. He quickly took out his water pouch and gulped down a few mouthfuls before finally swallowing the jerky down his throat. Swoosh! Just as he finished eating the jerky, before he could swallow it all, Chen felt a killing intent emerge. It was bone-piercing and incomparably cold. It directly approached the space between his eyebrows. Immediately after, a cold light appeared from the darkness. It was like a bolt of lightning, directly piercing through Chen's forehead. Assassins from the Assassin's Pavilion. Chen was very familiar with the move of assassins hiding in the dark. He had seen it many times with Wang Xian previously. With a cry of surprise, he suddenly jumped up. The genuine qi in his body surged wildly as he tried to block the killing blow. The sword radiance wantonly and the cold light flashed. It carried the killing blow of an assassin and instantly reached Chen's glabella. Peng! With a soft sound, the protective light shield was pierced through by the sword radiance. At the same time, the sharp tip of the sword pointed at Chen's glabella. The bone-piercing killing intent made Chen feel a sharp pain in his glabella. Before he could react, the long sword had already reached him. Fast. Too fast. This was the assassin sword art of the Assassin's Pavilion. It was unbelievably fast. When it came to sneak attacks, very few people could avoid it. This was a sword art that could kill enemies of a higher level. Wang. Silver light shone brightly around Chen. His blood and qi surged and his strong physique was fully displayed. At this critical moment, it blocked the attack for Chen. The sharp tip of the sword carried a bone-piercing chill as it pierced towards Chen's glabella. Clang! But shortly after, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. The tip of the sword seemed to have pierced through steel. It could no longer move forward and was even forced back. How is this possible? This physique. Not only did his attack fail to pierce through Chen's glabella, it was even blocked. The sneak attacker's expression changed drastically. The sword light flashed again, and this time, it was aimed at Chen's eyes. This was a vital point for everyone, and its defense would definitely not be that strong. Scram! At this time, Chen finally reacted. He threw away the water bag and dry rations and suddenly punched at the long sword. A strong wind rolled up, and a surging aura surged, bringing with it rays of dazzling qi. The power was terrifying beyond compare. This was Chen's powerful punch. He punched it out of anger. Boom! The power of the punch shattered the long sword. The fist radiance didn't dissipate. Its power was still as strong as ever. The sneak attacker was also sent flying by Chen. He coughed out blood in the air. Damn you from the Assassin's Pavilion! Chen cursed angrily. He touched the space between his eyebrows. There was still some pain there, and there was also a faint trace of blood. He felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he had broken through this time, and his physique had become several times stronger. Otherwise, this strike would have taken his life. His feet flashed and the 9 fleeting lightning appeared. It was like a real bolt of lightning. He charged at the Assassin's Pavilion with extreme speed. He swung his fist and smashed it down. Boom! As he punched out, the sound of air exploding rang out. His opponent coughed up blood repeatedly. This was a masked man with his head hidden. Other than his hands, only his eyes were exposed. This was the main outfit of the Heavenly Slayer's pavilion when they killed. Peng! One attack after another came like a storm. The masked man didn't even have time to react. Dong! His fists were like iron hammers. The clear sound of bones shattering could be heard. He had just broken through, but he had almost died in a sneak attack. Chen attacked again and again, venting the anger in his heart. Each attack was stronger than the one before, and each attack was fiercer than the one before. In the distance, the sound of thunder was originally rumbling, but at this moment, it was drowned out by the sound of bones breaking. Ah! The masked man screamed miserably. All the bones in his body had been shattered. Chen could have killed him in one strike, but he chose this method to torture him. The masked man was terrified. He didn't expect Chen to be so terrifying. He fled with his injured body. His figure flickered, and in the blink of an eye, numerous afterimages appeared. This was the 3 flashes of concealment recorded in the art of concealment. Swish. Zichen transformed into a bolt of lightning, moving with extreme speed. He stuck close to the masked man like a shadow, punching out repeatedly. It was like a torrential storm, rapid and powerful. Boom. The masked man was sent flying. He screamed miserably as several of his bones were broken. Zichen dashed forward and punched out again. Brat, you've offended the assassin's pavilion. From now on, there's no path to heaven, no door to hell. Ah! The masked man cursed, but he screamed again. The bones in his legs were broken. You'll die a horrible death, the masked man cursed. The ones who will die a horrible death are you scoundrels. Zichen shouted angrily. He stomped down with his right foot and a silver light flickered. The power of this stomp was like a huge mountain pressing down, crippling his opponent's arm once again. Ka sounds of bones breaking rang out continuously, like beans being fried. Brat, you've got guts. You've offended 3 powers at such a young age. Haha, let's see how long you can live. Before he died, the masked man laughed. His eyes were filled with disdain and pity, as if he was looking at a dead man. I'll definitely live longer than you. Zichen's eyes were filled with killing intent. His last stomp was aimed at the masked man's heart. Boom. The silver energy exploded, destroying everything. Everything was over. The masked man was finally dead. The assassin's pavilion and the martial ancestors' men were all dead. After killing the masked man, Zichen didn't stop. He picked up a bag not far away and put the water bag inside. Then, his figure flickered, and he flew away. His speed was extremely fast. Wherever he passed, he constantly looked around. It didn't seem like he was running for his life, but more like he was looking for something. Zichen was indeed looking for something, but it wasn't something. He was looking for someone from the Red Cloud City. Before the 2 men died, they said that he had offended 3 powers. So, there were obviously people from the Red Cloud City who stayed here to monitor him. Along the way, Zichen ran all the way. Relying on his vague memory, he looked for all the possible hiding places. After a while, he heard the sound of clothes flying. Sure enough, there's someone. Zichen's heart skipped a beat. He accelerated again and flew to the side. Pervert, pervert. This Zichen is really a pervert. The assassin's pavilion's killing blow didn't break his defense. How strong is his body? The person running at top speed was from the Red Cloud City. He was very strong, at the late Xiantian realm. He was the strongest of the 3. Before, he was full of confidence that he could kill Zichen. But when he saw Zichen and saw that the assassin's pavilion's killing blow didn't break his defense, and that Zichen had made the masked man vomit blood, he was extremely shocked. He no longer had any thoughts of killing the masked man. Instead, he chose to run away and send the news back. It's been more than 2 months. This guy actually came out alive. If he came out a month earlier, the others wouldn't have retreated. Now, I'm the only one left. Why am I so unlucky? The Red Cloud City's people complained incessantly. In the previous month, there were at least 5 powerhouses stationed here. 2 of them were at the true energy boundary. But after a month, seeing that there was still no movement in the Thunderfield, they all thought that Zichen had died long ago. So, one by one, they all returned. But who would have thought that after more than 2 months, the masked man would come out alive? The masked man was running away, and his speed was very fast. Suddenly, his figure stopped, and his eyes were filled with horror. Chapter 114. This was a dense forest. The man from Yunxia City was frantically fleeing. Seeing Zichen's strength from afar, he could no longer summon up any thoughts of fighting. As for his previous boast of being able to crush his opponent with 1 finger, he found it laughable. He frantically fled, wanting to get rid of Zichen. But before he could run far, his figure had already stopped. His eyes were filled with shock as he looked ahead. You! Unknowingly, Zichen had already arrived in front of him. Although he was dressed in black and was in tatters, his back was straight. After the man cried out in alarm, Zichen slowly turned around. He wasn't very old, but his face was very handsome. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyes were like the light of the sun. He turned around and looked at the man. His eyes were calm, and his tone was indifferent. "Let me ask you a question. If you tell me the truth, I'll spare your life." The man's eyes were filled with dread, his expression constantly changing. Hearing Zichen's words, he subconsciously asked, "What question? Who sent you? Wang Zhenwei or Wang Qiong?" Zichen's voice was calm, his expression indifferent. The man's forehead was already covered in sweat. If he didn't answer properly, he might lose his life today. Although he was strong, he didn't think he could stop the other party. Wiping the cold sweat off his forehead, the man said, "It was the young Miss Yan who sent me. She felt that you were still alive, so when I saw you, I was to bring you back." "Is that so?" Zichen's lips curled into a cold smile. "Since she sent you, why did you run when you saw me?" This. The man's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He didn't know how to answer. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. "That's because I wanted to tell Miss Yan the news. I wanted her to personally come and pick you up. That would show my sincerity." "Humph, nonsense. I originally wanted to give you a chance to live, but you didn't fight for it. If I'm not wrong, it was Wang Zhenwei who sent you." Zichen sneered, his eyes filled with killing intent. "You." The man's expression changed. Without another word, he turned tail and ran. He was at the late Xiantian stage, and his strength was strong. But at this time, he didn't dare to confront Zichen. "You want to leave?" Zichen's lips curled as a bone-piercing killing intent seeped out from his body. The 9 fleeting thunderbolts appeared, representing extreme speed. Now that he was about to comprehend the second fleeting thunderbolt, his speed was even faster. Swoosh! With a flash of lightning, Zichen appeared in front of the man. His speed was so fast that the man couldn't even imagine it. Immediately after, Zichen clenched his fists, and like 2 shining silver hammers, he smashed them with a whistling sound, bringing with him a strong wind. "Ha!" The man shouted as he madly mobilized his Yantian Zhenqi. All of his Zhenqi gathered in his hands and emitted a dazzling brilliance to block Zichen's attack. Boom! The silver fist was like a hot knife through butter. Its power was peerless. With a boom, it shattered the protective Zhenqi around the man's body. Then, it smashed into the man's body, forcing him to retreat. What terrifying power! The man grimaced in pain as he finally experienced Zichen's strength. Swoosh! After one attack, another attack came. Zichen's body flickered as he waved his fist again. "Zichen, don't push me too far. If worse comes to worst, I won't report you when I go back." The man couldn't retreat, so he could only block again. With a flash of brilliance, a weapon appeared at his waist. With a cold light, he pointed it at Zichen. "You'd better fool a kid with this kind of words." The power of the fist was like 2 mountains pressing down. It was extremely terrifying. Once again, the man was sent flying. The weapon in his hand had already been shattered. The man coughed up a mouthful of blood. Zichen's body was too terrifying. Even a late-stage Zhenqi warrior like him couldn't withstand it. He shouted angrily as his eyes turned red, "Zichen, you've gone too far. Watch out for my black wind palm." Gusts of wild wind rolled up like wind blades. It was incomparably dark, and a terrifying aura emerged from it. The man used a Xiantian battle skill. As he raised his palm, it seemed as if a gust of black wind was attacking, bringing with it a bone-piercing chill. "Humph!" Zichen coldly snorted. His expression didn't change as he waved his fist. The silver light was dazzling, illuminating the dense forest. His fist was like a small mountain crushing towards the man. Boom! The black wind suddenly trembled. It was blocked by Zichen's fist. Then, the surging energy entered the black wind, creating a loud bang. In an instant, the black wind was annihilated, and the black wind palm was broken. At the same time, the slightly dimmed fist light passed through the black wind and hit the man's chest. Bang! With a dull sound, the man was sent flying. He coughed up a mouthful of blood. The powerful Xiantian battle skill still couldn't do anything to Zichen. Dong! Both of Zichen's fists shook again. He flashed forward and launched another fierce attack. At this moment, his eyes turned cold and filled with killing intent. He was determined to kill his opponent. The man coughed up a mouthful of blood and was sent flying again. This time, his protective light shield was broken, and the sound of bones breaking resounded. "You forced me to do this." The man was furious. He fell into madness. The aura around his body became even more turbulent. He was burning all of his potential. He was determined to fight Zi Chen with his life. Zi Chen waved his fist. His body was shining with a silver light. He was like a silver-armored war god, cold and emotionless. Streaks of lightning wandered around his body. It was dazzling. Dang! Fists were Zi Chen's best weapon. With one punch, the terrifying black wind was annihilated again, and the man was sent flying again. Swoosh! Lightning flashed between Zi Chen's fingers. Streaks of lightning appeared. They were dazzling like thunder dragons, rushing towards the man. The complete version of the thunderbolt finger could evolve into thousands of thunder dragons. Zi Chen was only at the entry level, and could only evolve 5. However, the power was 5 times stronger than the previous version. It was extremely terrifying. In addition to the power, there was also the lightning's extreme speed. The 5 streaks of lightning wrapped around the man in an instant. Then, there was the sound of thunder exploding. Silver light bloomed in front of Zi Chen like a silver firework. The light dissipated, and the lightning disappeared. Everything returned to silence. In front of Zi Chen, there was only a charred figure. The late Xiantian realm man was already dead. The battle before had caused a huge commotion. It was not good to stay here for long. Zi Chen grabbed his bag and hurriedly left. What kind of world is this? In just half a year, I've offended 3 major powers. Zi Chen complained incessantly. He did not do anything, but he had already offended 3 major powers. Cloud City, Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion, and Martial Ancestor. These were all famous existences in the southern region. The number of disciples under them was innumerable. Zi Chen felt a great pressure. Now, he desperately wanted to reach the floating snow city. He kept reminding himself that he had to keep a low profile and not cause any trouble. The forest was full of trees. There was no lack of ancient trees that were more than 100 years old. They were like horned dragons, rooted in the ground. Zi Chen walked through the forest. Suddenly, he realized that this forest was very familiar. This is the forest near Qingshui village. I wonder how the villagers are doing. Were they implicated? Zi Chen was very grateful that the villagers had saved him and Wang Xian'er. After that, he was always afraid that the martial ancestor would take revenge. Today, he happened to pass by, so Zi Chen decided to take a look. Half an hour later, Zi Chen arrived at his destination. The village was still the same as before, with many houses and chimneys. There was nothing special about it. From afar, Zi Chen could hear the laughter of children. Obviously, this place had not been affected, and was still a peaceful place. Zi Chen heaved a sigh of relief. He was about to enter the village and greet the villagers before leaving. But suddenly, Zi Chen saw the villagers walking out of the village. They were all dressed neatly, as if they had deliberately dressed up. Their faces were filled with anticipation and smiles, as if they were ready to welcome someone. What's going on? Zi Chen was puzzled. He hid in the forest and did not come out. He observed carefully. The villagers stopped at the entrance of the village, leaving a large open space. The children were jumping around excitedly, saying that their big sister was coming. Big sister? Could it be Wang Xian'er? Zi Chen was stunned and did not show himself. After a while, 2 people walked out of the village. They were 2 middle-aged men, one tall and one short. After seeing the happy children, their eyes flashed with disdain. They passed through the crowd and walked straight ahead. People from Yunxia City. Zi Chen's face changed. He was secretly glad that he did not appear. These 2 were powerful cultivators. Wherever they passed, the villagers would make way for them. Their eyes were filled with fear. Even the village chief was the same. When he saw the 2 of them, he quickly smiled apologetically. Pitch, remember this. When the young miss comes, all of you better cheer up. Don't cry. The tall middle-aged man snorted. Yes, yes. Of course, of course. The villagers nodded. They were afraid of offending the tall middle-aged man. Sir, I would like to ask, is young Master Zi Chen really dead? The village chief's eyes were a little sad as he asked. When the other villagers heard this question, they all raised their heads. Even the children stopped playing and looked at the tall middle-aged man. Everyone's eyes were filled with expectation. Bah, what young master? That guy is too bold. He dared to deceive the people of Yunxia City and caused us to attack the martial ancestor. Not to mention that this guy is dead. Even if he is not dead, I will slap him to death. The tall middle-aged man suddenly scolded. Zi Chen and Miss Xian are very good friends. He was the one who saved Miss Xian that day. They are lovers. A villager suddenly said. Obviously, he was very dissatisfied with the tall cultivator's words. Bullshit, what do you know? Who is our young miss? She is the high and mighty princess of Yunxia City. She is above everyone. Who is Zi Chen? He is just a disciple of a small destroyed sect. He is only in the true Qi realm. What qualifications does he have to be on the same level as our young miss? Bah, what qualifications does he have to be on the same level as our young miss? But. No buts. Let me tell you, don't mention the name Zi Chen in front of me in the future. Otherwise, I will get angry and burn your village. What kind of trash is he? How dare he be mentioned in the same breath as our young miss? The tall middle-aged man said with dissatisfaction. When the young miss comes, whoever dares to mention Zi Chen to me will not see the sun tomorrow. Yes, yes. The villagers nodded again and again, their eyes full of horror. You haven't forgotten what we told you before, right? The short middle-aged man said coldly. No, no, we will definitely put in a good word for them in front of Miss Xian. The villagers hurriedly said, as if they were afraid of the two. Mate, not only do you have to put in a good word, but also say that the hut is old and needs to be rebuilt. You will need some primordial stones. The short man said. Yes, yes. The village chief nodded again and again, his back bowed. From afar, Zi Chen was fuming with anger when he heard this. These two were truly shameless to the extreme. They actually wanted to use the fact that the villagers had saved Wang Xian to get more benefits from the villagers. Obviously, these benefits would not fall into their hands. Damn it. Zi Chen's eyes flashed coldly. He could not wait to slap the two of them to death. However, at this moment, a clear and melodious bird cry sounded from the sky. Hearing the sound, Zi Chen looked up and saw a fiery red color on the horizon. It was like a burning flame and was flying towards them quickly. This is the Fire Luan. Chapter 115. A bird cry resounded in the sky, pleasant to the ear. Zi Chen raised his head and saw a large fiery cloud floating over from the horizon. Fire Luan! Zi Chen exclaimed. Within the fiery clouds, there was a divine bird shining brilliantly. It was extraordinary, and the feathers on its body were like balls of blazing flames. This was a Fire Luan. In the Tianwu continent, it was an extremely famous existence. It was said that it had the bloodline of the god Luan and was a descendant of the god Luan. When it spread its fiery red wings, it was dozens of meters long. It was like a flame burning in the sky. Its size was even bigger than the rock. Furthermore, it was much more famous than the rock. It was also a rare spiritual beast that could be tamed. At this moment, Wang Xian was on the back of the Fire Luan. Her hair was black and shiny, and her red dress fluttered in the wind. She looked like a fairy. Her breasts were tall and straight, and her waist was slender. Her legs were straight and smooth like jade. The endless red light reflected on her beautiful face. She was like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world, noble and elegant. When he saw Wang Xian again, Zi Chen's heart skipped a beat when he saw her beautiful face and agile figure. He leaned against the tree to prevent himself from being discovered. Now was not the time for them to meet. The speed of the Fire Luan was very fast. It was not slower than the rock at all. In a few moments, it had already arrived above the village. The blazing red light dyed the entire sky. Wang Xian tapped her foot and like a ball of cotton, she danced with the wind and landed lightly. As the red light shone and her clothes fluttered, she looked like a fairy who had descended from the heavens. The crowd below was stunned. "Greetings, miss." The two experts from Yunxia City reacted quickly and hurriedly bowed. "Rise." Wang Xianer's voice was light and melodious. It was like the cry of a god Luan or an oriole flying out of the valley. "Big sister, you're finally here. Xiao Xianer, you're here." The other villagers also came to their senses and greeted him warmly. Compared to the past, Wang Xianer had brought them much more shock today. "Uncle, how have you been recently? Aunt Zhong, Uncle Shu Sheng, and little Ergu and little Ya." Wang Xianer's red robes fluttered in the wind. Her voice was crisp, and there was a sweet smile on her face. She greeted every villager she was familiar with. She was very friendly and easygoing. The villagers nodded repeatedly. They were also very happy. "The two of you aren't disturbing the villagers, are you?" After greeting the villagers one by one, a red light flickered in Wang Xianer's hand. Cute toys appeared out of thin air and were taken away by a group of children. After that, Wang Xianer turned around and looked at the two inborn experts. "No, no. Previously, we were instructed not to disturb the villagers. Recently, we have been cultivating." The tall and short duo lowered their heads and hurriedly said. Facing Wang Xianer, the two of them felt immense pressure. They were in fear and trepidation. "That's good." Wang Xianer said plainly, "You are from the Royal Mountain and I don't want to make things difficult for you. However, if I find out that you are abusing the villagers, don't blame me for being rude. You know my temper." "Yes, yes. We know, we definitely wouldn't dare." The two of them nodded continuously, not daring to raise their heads. One of the short men secretly turned his head and looked at the village chief. He pursed his lips and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. This was a warning. "Xiao Xian, don't make things difficult for them. These two adults are very nice and treat us well. When they have time, they even guide these children in their cultivation." The village chief, who was hunched over, saw the man's warning and spoke up for the two of them. "That's right, miss. We really didn't take anything from them for nothing. Not only did we not take anything, but we also contributed a lot. When we have time, we teach these children how to cultivate." The two of them didn't blush and their hearts didn't skip a beat. Following the village chief's words, they looked as though they had put in a lot of effort. The surrounding villagers also smiled apologetically and chimed in. No one dared to undermine them. Although the villagers were simple and honest, they weren't fools. They knew that Xiao Xian would be leaving soon and the two of them would be staying here for a long time. If they offended the two of them, this small village would be in danger. "That's right, Xiao Xian. These two adults are very nice." The villagers kept putting in good words for the two of them. Wang Xianer was very satisfied and nodded her head repeatedly. After that, she gave the two of them some rewards. "You guys have done well. I hope you can do the same in the future." The two of them nodded their heads and thanked them. They were overjoyed. These rewards were an unexpected gain today. They were quite heavy and there were quite a number of vitality stone fragments. After the previous incident, Yunxia City's protection of Wang Xianer was even tighter. When she came out, she would sit on the fire lawn and couldn't stay for too long. After about an hour, Wang Xianer was ready to leave. "Xiao Xian, stay here for a meal before you leave." "That's right, big sister. Stay a little longer." Wang Xianer insisted on leaving. The villagers couldn't persuade her and reluctantly sent her to the entrance of the village. "All right, you guys can go back." Wang Xianer smiled and was about to call the Fire Luan back to Yunxia City. "Be careful, miss. Take care, miss," the two people from Yunxia City said respectfully. However, when they turned around, they stared fiercely at the village chief. Their eyes seemed to be questioning him. Obviously, they still had something to do. The village chief's heart trembled and he was in a difficult position. However, when he saw the cold eyes of the two people, he called out, "Xiao Xian, village chief, is there anything else?" Wang Xianer turned around and saw the village chief in a difficult position. The village chief was old and his body was trembling. He walked to Wang Xianer and said awkwardly, The village is very remote and transportation is inconvenient. Most of the houses are wooden houses. Recently, there has been a lot of rain and some of the houses are leaking. We need to use vitality stones to repair them. The village chief was in a difficult position. He was obviously asking for something from her, which went against his nature. At this point, he couldn't continue and his old face turned red. Oh, it's my fault. I should have thought of this earlier. The houses here have to be rebuilt. Here are 10 vitality stones. It's enough to rebuild a small village. Don't be afraid of spending money. Go and find some craftsmen to build some stone houses. They will be sturdy. A red light flashed in Wang Xianer's hand and a bag of vitality stones appeared out of thin air. It was as if she was an immortal who could make things appear out of thin air. Previously, Wang Xianer had suggested that the villagers move to Yunxia City but was rejected. Firstly, they didn't want to leave their hometown. Secondly, the people living in Yunxia City were all big shots and cultivators. There were too few commoners and it wasn't convenient for the villagers to move there. Thank you very much then. After accepting this huge amount of wealth, the village chief felt ashamed. As for the villagers behind him, they all lowered their heads and didn't say a word. They felt guilty. This was the first time they had done something against their conscience, but it was all for the sake of survival. In the end, Wang Xianer left like a fairy drifting away. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. Before she left, she instructed the 2 men to supervise and put in more effort so that the villagers could move into the stone houses as soon as possible. Okay. Wang Xianer drifted into the distance and reached the horizon in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, she seemed to have sensed something and turned her head to look at the dense forest below. However, the forest was lush and there were leaves everywhere. Her beautiful eyes looked around but she couldn't see anything. It must be an illusion. How could I sense his aura? If he had appeared, why would he hide from me? He would have come out long ago. Wang Xianer shook her head and muttered. Then, she was carried away by the fire Luan and drifted away. At this moment, Zi Chen appeared from behind a tree. He looked in the direction where Wang Xianer left and muttered, "Sorry, I can't meet you now." The people of Yunxia City were looking for him. Zi Chen couldn't easily show himself. Now that he saw that the villagers were safe and Wang Xianer had returned, Zi Chen decided to leave. But at this moment, Zi Chen heard an angry scolding coming from the village entrance. "You old thing, how dare you hide it? Take it all out." Turning his head, he saw the short middle-aged man snatching the bag of key stones that Wang Xianer had given to him. However, he wasn't satisfied with it. He kicked the village head to the ground and tried to take the bag of key stones from the village head. Previously, Wang Xianer had given him some keystone fragments, and the village head had kept them. The village chief was kicked to the ground and his walking stick was thrown to the side. He was in great pain. The surrounding villagers were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. "Bad people, you are all bad people. Big sister just left and you hit Grandpa village chief." Ergu broke free from his parents' arms and suddenly ran forward. He pushed the short man with his petite body. The latter was fine, but Ergu staggered. "Get lost, little brat." The short man was furious. He kicked Ergu a few meters away. Ergu was only a child, so he fainted after falling to the ground. "Mother **ku, you old bastard. You dare to hide it? Take it all out." The short man cursed and kicked the village chief who was on the ground. "You can't take it, you can't take it. The houses in the village are leaking and need to be repaired. These vitality stone fragments are used to repair the houses." The village chief held his chest tightly, not letting the short man take away the vitality stone fragments. "Damn it, you old thing, it's a waste to give these things to you. You're just a lowly commoner. It's good enough that you have a house to live in. You're complaining about the leakage. Quickly hand it over, or I'll kick you to death." After a few more kicks, the village chief's bones couldn't take it anymore. "Enough, you've already taken a lot of vitality stones today. What else do you want? The vitality stone fragments are for other people to repair their houses." On the side, the butcher couldn't take it anymore. He shouted angrily and suddenly stepped forward. He stared at the two of them. "Who the hell do you think you are? Get lost. Unfortunately, the short man wasn't afraid at all and slapped him. Pa. Along with the crisp sound, half of the butcher's face was swollen. 2 of his teeth were knocked out and he spat out blood. You lowly commoners really don't know what's good for you. Today, I'll beat you until you're looking for your teeth on the ground. The short man directly abandoned the old man and walked towards the butcher who was beaten back. He stretched out his big hand and slapped the butcher's face, making slapping sounds. Do you know what looking for your teeth on the ground means? It means I'll beat your teeth out and let you find them one by one on the ground. The short man's attacks were swift and fierce. The butcher's teeth fell out again. Don't go too far. I've already given you all the vitality stones. Do you still want to beat him to death? That's right, you should be lenient when possible. You've already taken the primordial stones, why do you have to beat people up? Chapter 116. You guys are going to beat him to death. If Xiao Xian hears that you killed him the next time she comes, it won't be easy to explain. After all, the scholar had studied for a few years and had some literary talent. Although his voice was light and weak at this moment, it carried a lot of weight. He used Wang Xian to pressure them and shocked the 2 of them. Why? Are you threatening me? The shorter one glanced at the scholar with cold eyes. The taller one didn't look friendly either. I wouldn't dare. I'm just saying that Xiao Xian is indebted to Tu Fu for saving her life. I'm sure Xiao Xian won't ignore his death. The scholar's forehead was covered in sweat, but his voice was still calm. Piak. After being humiliated, the shorter one was unhappy. He slapped Tu Fu again. This time, he didn't knock out Tu Fu's teeth. Clearly, he was afraid of killing him and knew his limits. You lowly commoners. We can kill you as we wish. Do you think that Miss Ju will punish us for lowly commoners like you? Don't be naive. The taller one sneered. Although he didn't make a move, he had been watching this scene with a smile from the beginning. The threat in the scholar's words made them feel disdain. Piak. The crisp sound rang again. Tu Fu's face was covered in blood. He kept retreating, but his eyes were fixed on the other party. His eyes were filled with anger. Piak. The crisp sound of a slap rang again. The shorter one was very arrogant. I'm giving you face by slapping you. Damn it, what kind of place is this? You made us wait for a dead man. How unlucky. How can we not get some benefits? The shorter one continued to slap Tu Fu. Tu Fu's face was covered in blood, but he didn't kill him. Enough. Do you really want to kill someone? Xiao Xian won't let you off. Even Zi Chen will pursue this matter. Young hero Zi Chen is blessed with great fortune and will definitely not die. Xian has her reasons for making you wait here. If you kill the villagers now and wait for Zi Chen to come back, we'll see what you'll do. The scholar couldn't stand it anymore. He spoke again with a cold voice. If he didn't stop them, Tu Fu would be bedridden for a few months even if he didn't die. In this small mountain village, even if he didn't work for a few days, there wouldn't be any food, let alone a few months. Pa. Another crisp voice rang out. The short man looked at the scholar and said in disdain, he's just a piece of trash at the true energy realm. Even if he's still alive, I, Yang Ping, am not afraid of him. I even need to give him an explanation. Does he even deserve it? A piece of trash that I can crush with my finger is nothing in my eyes. His tone was very arrogant and full of disdain. You lowly commoners. Even if I kill you, no one will plead for you. Who do you think you are? Lowly commoners. I'm in the Xiantian realm. I'm an elder in a small sect. If you fight with me, I can kill you with a single finger. The short guy was extremely arrogant. His eyes were filled with disdain. He didn't treat the villagers as humans at all. The tall man next to him sneered. Although he didn't say anything, he used his expression to cooperate with the other party. Suddenly, an indifferent voice rang out. Is that so? If you have the ability, why don't you show me? His voice was abrupt, cold, and filled with endless fury. The 2 of them were very arrogant. They didn't even notice who said it. Mother **K, which reckless thing said that? Get the hell out here. I'm going to kill him. The short man was furious and roared. He looked around and swept his gaze over the crowd in front of him. Ah, it's the young hero. Suddenly, a cry of surprise rang out. Some villagers saw Zichen coming from afar. What the F***ck young hero? A lowly commoner dares to call himself a young hero? The short guy cursed. He didn't see Zichen. What a piece of trash. You lowly commoners dare to call yourself a young hero. The tall man sneered. He didn't see Zichen either. It's you, Zichen. You're not dead. I knew you weren't dead. Zichen, you're finally back. We all believe that you're fine. The butcher and the village chief, like the other villagers, saw Zichen. They were very excited. It was as if they saw their savior. Hearing this, their faces changed. They immediately turned around and saw a young man with an extremely gloomy face. He was walking towards them. You're Zichen? The short guy asked coldly. He looked at Zichen. Zichen didn't say anything. He walked forward with an extremely gloomy face. He had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen such shameless people. The actions of these two made Zichen want to kill them. Kid, I'm talking to you. You're that Zichen. Could it be that the lightning dominion didn't kill you? The tall man asked. Zichen didn't say anything. He quickly walked forward. He didn't use any battle skills. His footwork was very steady. There was an inexplicable pressure. Kid, are you deaf? I'm talking to you. The short guy felt that something was wrong. Seeing that Zichen still didn't react, he turned to look at the tall guy. He also found that the tall guy's expression was somewhat unnatural. There's something strange about this kid, the tall guy whispered. Damn it, he's just in the true chi realm. So what if there's something strange about him? I'll still kill him. Go, let's attack together, the short guy scolded. Kill. The two looked at each other. Their eyes flashed coldly. Xiantian true chi surged. They tapped their feet and rushed towards Zichen. Go to hell. Their figures exploded as they attacked with powerful battle skills. At this moment, they had already forgotten what Wang Xiana said before. When they saw Zichen, they had to treat him well and invite him to Yunxia City. Looking at the two, Zichen squinted his eyes. His eyes were cold and his gloomy face had a hint of killing intent. He didn't dodge the two's attacks. He only raised his right hand. Kid, you're not dodging. Die. The two of them grinned maliciously and attacked Zichen's vital points. Slap. Seeing that the two's attacks were about to land on Zichen's body, just as the villagers began to worry about Zichen made his move. His palms became silvery and dazzling. When he was still, he was like a pine tree, but when he moved, he was like the wind. The palm fell very quickly, hitting the short man's face first. With a crisp sound, the short man was directly sent flying. Slap. As soon as his palm fell, he raised it again and slapped it again. It was like a bolt of lightning. The speed was even faster and the sound was crisp. The tall guy was also sent flying. Two simple slaps were enough to neutralize the two's attacks and send them flying. Zichen's strength shocked the villagers, but it also made them feel good. You. A simple slap was enough to stun the two of them. After they got up, they looked at Zichen in shock. Zichen didn't say a word. Silver light flashed under his feet and the 9 flashes of lightning appeared. He instantly appeared in front of the short guy and slapped him. Slap. Another slap. It was crisp and loud. The short guy was hit and spun a few rounds. Blood and teeth flew out of his mouth. The tall guy saw that the situation wasn't good. He wanted to escape, but how could he outrun Zichen's speed? The latter flashed and slapped him again. The sound was crisp and loud. The villagers felt good when they heard it. Some of them were even cheering in their hearts. Kid, do you know who I am? The short guy, Yang Ping, got up from the ground. He covered half of his swollen face and glared at Zichen. I don't know who you are, but I know what it means to look for teeth on the ground. Zichen finally spoke. His voice was extremely cold. This time, he raised his left hand and slapped it down again. Slap. Only half of his face was swollen, while the other half was unscathed. This time, Zichen had slapped that half of his face. After a loud slap, Another mouthful of blood came out, accompanied by several teeth. Yang Ping's face changed drastically. The other party was not holding back at all. Just a few slaps were enough to make Yang Ping dizzy. His ears buzzed and his body swayed unsteadily. You don't know what it means to look for teeth on the ground? Then I'll tell you. I'll knock all your teeth out and let you pick them up and count them one by one. Zi Chen's eyes flashed coldly. He raised his left hand again. Slap. A loud and clear slap was heard, followed by the sound of teeth falling out. Yang Ping was on the verge of tears. This was what he said before. He said it so confidently. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the meantime, Yang Ping had been running for his life, but Zi Chen had been following him closely like a ghost. Yang Ping did not see Zi Chen unleash a shortkill attack, he could only see Zi Chen raising his palm time and time again. Slap. Every time, the sound was so clear and loud, making the villagers feel a sense of comfort. Many of Yang Ping's teeth had fallen out of his mouth, along with some bone fragments. This was his broken jaw. Zi Chen's physique was strong and he didn't hold back at all. Every time he slapped Yang Ping's mouth, he used a lot of force. Why are you holding hands when you are dancing? Yang Ping was slapped by Zi Chen until he couldn't speak clearly. He wanted to say something, but he realized that he couldn't even speak clearly. He wanted to say, "Do you know who I am?" but he couldn't understand what he was saying. Slap. Zi Chen's face was gloomy, and his eyes were cold. This was the only move he had made. He raised his palm and struck down again. A few more teeth fell out, accompanied by broken bones. I don't know who you are, but I know what it means to look for teeth all over the floor. Although Zi Chen did not understand Yang Ping's words, he could guess what Yang Ping was trying to say since Yang Ping had said the same thing over and over again. Hence, he kept replying with the same sentence. Slap, 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 slap. Zi Chen attacked again and again. Light flashed under his feet and he chased after Yang Ping like a ghost. After more than 10 slaps, Yang Ping's body swayed again and again. Finally, he fainted and fell to the ground. At this moment, he didn't have a single tooth left in his mouth. All of them were scattered on the ground. His entire jaw was smashed by Zi Chen. He looked 10 times worse than Butcher. Chapter 117. There was a pool of blood on the ground, accompanied by dozens of white teeth. Yang Ping lay on the ground, unconscious. At the same time, he was on the verge of death. Zi Chen slapped him dozens of times, and he was on the verge of death. Who could resist that kind of brute force? What are you doing? Zi Chen, I'm telling you, I'm from Yunxia City. Don't you dare do anything rash. Dozens of slaps were enough to cripple Yang Ping. Seeing Zi Chen looking at him, the tall man was even more terrified. His voice was trembling, and his teeth were chattering as if he was afraid that they would fly out of his mouth in the next moment. Are the people from Yunxia City very powerful? Zi Chen's eyes were filled with disdain. His feet flashed, and his figure disappeared like a ghost as he rushed towards the tall man. Zi Chen, let's talk nicely. I was sent by Wang Xian to bring you back to Yunxia City. The tall man was terrified. He kept retreating, and because of his fear, he spoke more fluently. Pa. A loud slap sounded again. The tall man felt as if he had been hit in the face by a wild beast. In an instant, blood and teeth flew out, cleanly and cleanly. Zi Chen, are you crazy? We're on the same side. The tall man quickly retreated. Half of his face was swollen, but he still spoke fluently. Zi Chen sneered. He stepped forward again and raised his hand. Then, a silver light flashed. Pa. Another loud and clear slap landed on his face. Fast. Too fast. Zi Chen's attack was simply too fast. It was indescribable. Pa. Another strike rang out, crisp and clear. Zi Chen, we're on the same side. The tall man covered his face and said. You know we're on the same side, but you still dare to attack the villagers and rob them of the money to repair the houses. Zi Chen was very angry. The consequences were naturally severe. He raised his hand again. Pa. Every single one of Zi Chen's attacks were so solid that they never missed. Blood spurted out from the broken teeth and jaw. The tall man dodged frantically, but his speed was too slow compared to Zichen. Zichen followed him like a shadow, like a ghost or a shadow. He couldn't get rid of him. You guys are worse than pigs and dogs. You made the villagers go against their conscience to ask for primordial stones for you, and then beat them up. If they are lowly commoners, then what are you guys? In my eyes, you are not even ants. The more Zichen spoke, the angrier he got. He slapped her again, the sound crisp and clear. Zichen, we are Wang Shan's men. Young Master Wang Shan will be here in a few days. If you kill us, you can prepare to face young Master Wang Shan's wrath. At this point, the tall man no longer begged for mercy. Instead, he began to threaten them. Zichen's pupils shrank. He looked at the tall man in shock. He never would have thought that the tall man's face would be slapped so hard that it looked like a pig's head. His big eyes were squinted, most of his teeth were missing, and his jaw was broken. However, he could still speak clearly and threaten them. What Wang Shan? I've never heard of him. Zichen didn't care. He raised his left hand and rushed forward. The speed of the 9 lightning fleeting times was too fast. Zichen didn't miss each time. Even if the tall man knew he was going to be slapped, he still couldn't dodge. Pa! The tall man was sent flying again. He didn't have many teeth left in his mouth, but he spat out a few more. They were white and not even stained with blood. Zichen, you better think carefully. Wang Shan is Wang Qiong's younger cousin, Wang Chuan's younger brother, and Wang Zhenwei's son. If you offend him, you won't be far from death. The tall man continued to threaten. I was wondering who it was. So it's a rich second generation. No matter, I'll kill whoever comes. Zichen sneered. He didn't care at all. He waved his hand again and slapped the tall man. Wang Shan will come here to play in a few days. He asked us brothers to welcome him. If you kill us, not only will you die, even the villagers won't be able to live. At that time, all of you will be buried with me. The tall man continued to curse viciously. Wow, you're amazing. You only have a few teeth left in your mouth, but your words are still so sharp. It seems like you're much stronger than that trash. You're a bigger ant. Zichen laughed disdainfully. Then, his eyes flashed coldly. His body moved like a ghost and he drew his bow with both hands. Pa, 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 pa. It was the sound of slapping, but in the end, it sounded like firecrackers. After dozens of slaps, the tall man didn't have a single tooth left in his mouth. His entire face was a mess of flesh and blood. In the end, his small eyes rolled back and he fainted. Chimph, scum, I won't kill you today. I'll let you live for another 2 days. Looking at the 2 people who had fainted, Zichen said coldly. The 2 people fainted, and the villagers came forward. Zichen, you saved our Qingshui village again. We owe you a big favor. Zichen, thank you so much this time. They all said that you were dead. Luckily, you came back and saved our Qingshui village again. You're the savior of our village. The villagers came forward and said one after another. They were very emotional and very grateful to Zichen. When the tall man and the short man came to the village and said that Zichen had died in the lightning region, they were sad for a long time. Everyone, don't be so polite. Didn't you save me and Xiana previously? I was lucky to survive in the lightning region and came back to save everyone. This is the arrangement of the heavens. It proves that we are fated. Zichen smiled. These villagers were very simple. In order to save him and Wang Xian'er, they didn't hesitate to lie to the martial ancestor. They were betting the lives of all the villagers. Zichen, it's all thanks to you this time. The village chief picked up the walking stick and walked forward shakily. Village chief, you're too polite. My life was saved by you guys. It's only right that I come here to help you guys. Zichen supported the village chief and smiled. Then, he took out the bag of vitality stones from the short man and said, it's better to exchange these for gold and silver as soon as possible and build some stone houses for everyone. It's really inconvenient to live in a wooden house. No, I can't take these. Our house is only leaking a little. We can still live in it after some repairs. These vitality stones, Zichen, you should take them. The village chief refused repeatedly. He had heard the tall man and the short man say that even if Zi Chen didn't die in the lightning region, he wouldn't live for long. This was because he had offended 3 powers. At this moment, the village chief was determined not to take the vitality stones. He also wanted Zi Chen to take these and run for his life. Village chief, you should take them and build a sturdy house for everyone to live in. Zi Chen said. No, child, you should take these vitality stones and run away quickly. We all know about your situation. You have offended 3 powers and are in danger now. The village chief was worried. Yeah, Zi Chen, take the vitality stones and run. Your life is more important. The villagers also persuaded. He can't leave. If he leaves, then your broken village will be slaughtered by young master Wang Shan. It was unknown when the tall man had woken up, but he said maliciously, "Mph, don't worry, I won't leave. I'm going to see that 2nd-generation ancestor. His father has designs on me. Presumably, you were arranged by his son to come here. Well, since I can't beat the old one, I'll beat the young one to vent my anger." Zi Chen turned around and sneered. Then, he searched the 2 people's bodies, wanting to take away all their valuables. You're shameless. The tall man was furious, but he couldn't do anything to Zi Chen. He just let Zi Chen take away all their valuables. The shameless ones are you guys, a bunch of greedy guys. Zi Chen found 2 small bags on the 2 people's bodies. There were many vitality stones inside and he gave them to the village chief. Village head, don't worry. Keep these things well. In 2 days, that spoiled brat will deliver the purity stones to me. Take these and focus on building the house first. Zi Chen said with a relaxed smile, trying to make the village head feel relieved. Zi Chen, stop dreaming. Young master Wang Shan is young, but is already a late Xiantian master. He even learned the Qingxia secret art. You're just an early Xiantian master. Just wait to be slapped to death. The tall man still hadn't fainted and was still cursing. Nonsense, so noisy. Let's see how many more words you can say. Zi Chen seemed to be impatient. He directly kicked the tall man, and in an instant, the tall man's eyes turned black and he fainted. Zi Chen, you'd better leave. The village chief was still worried, and the other villagers also advised. Zi Chen, you're so powerful at such a young age. In the future, you won't be a fish in a pond. You can't let us ordinary people drag you down. You should leave. That's right. Our lives are worthless. If we die, we die. But you're a genius. Your future is limitless. Your road is broad. Leave quickly. Zi Chen, you should leave. If you can't, we'll leave too. The whole village will migrate. The villagers said one after another, urging Zi Chen to leave. Zi Chen smiled and was very moved. This is the territory of Yunxia City. You have no place to migrate. This method obviously won't work. Everyone, don't worry, I won't leave. I'm going to meet that Wang Shan. Once I've dealt with him, I'll naturally leave. Don't worry. Zi Chen had already learned from the tall man that Wang Shan would come in a few days, but the exact time was not set. So 2 days later, Zi Chen took the 2 people on the road. He wanted to wait for Wang Shan on the road that he had to pass. Zi Chen, be careful. Big brother, be careful. We, the people of Qingshui village, will always remember you. The villagers came out and waved goodbye. Zi Chen carried the 2 people as if they were chickens and disappeared into the dense forest. A few hours later, Zi Chen arrived at the official road. The 2 people had clearly told him that Wang Shan would come through the official road. Zi Chen had also heard of Wang Shan. That day, the people of the Heavenly Slayer Pavilion deliberately put up a list of geniuses in order to mock him. Among them was Wang Shan, who had already reached the late stage of the Xiantian realm at such a young age. Although he wasn't as terrifying as Wang Qiong or Wang Xianer in Yunxia City, he was still considered a genius. It was just that this person was unwilling to practice martial arts. He liked to hunt and kill, bullied the good, and committed all kinds of crimes. His reputation in Yunxia City was very bad, and he could be considered a typical scum. Chapter 118. This was a straight official road, following the main road all the way to Red Cloud City. It was the only way to get there. Chen sat on the side of the road, quietly waiting for Wang Shan's arrival. Not far from him were the two heavily injured men. Their heads were swollen like pigs, all of their teeth had fallen out, and their jaws were broken. They had not eaten for days, and their spirits were low. If they were mortals, they would have died long ago. Brat, you are waiting for your death by waiting for young Master Wang Shan here. He offended the three sects. He won't live long anyway. It's reasonable for him to wait here for his death. The two men were in low spirits and hungry, but they could not eat. They were lying on the ground, one on the left and one on the right. Being exposed to the scorching sun, they were full of resentment and continued to mock Wang Shan. Waiting for your death? Are you that confident in Wang Shan? Isn't he just a second generation? Trash. Chen smiled and did not care. Dream on. Young Master Wang Shan's strength is not something you can imagine. The corners of Yang Ping's mouth twitched as he said disdainfully, young Master Wang Shan has cultivated the Qing Xia secret technique. Do you know what the Qing Xia secret technique is? You will be scared to death if I tell you. It is the strongest technique in Yunxia City. Although young Master Wang Shan is only in the late stage of the Xiantian realm, even a complete Xiantian realm cultivator is nothing in front of him. In Yunxia City, I saw a complete Xiantian realm cultivator who fought with young Master Wang Shan for a woman was killed by a sword. You are only in the early stage of the Xiantian realm. You are nothing. That's right. You are from a small sect. How would you know what a genius is and what the Qing Xia secret technique is? Fighting with young Master Wang Shan is like hitting an egg against a rock. You are overestimating yourself. The two men continued to talk about Chen. They were not aware that they were being held captive and on the chopping block. Chen smiled and did not say a word. Naturally, he had heard of the famous Qingxia secret manual. It was something that was on par with the martial arts grandmasters of the martial arts grandmasters. Previously, when Chen was with Wang Xian, he had more or less understood a little about it. It was definitely powerful, but it also depended on who was using it. A powerful technique in the hands of a person who was addicted to alcohol and women would naturally be weakened. Go on, don't stop. Chen smiled faintly. Your lives are about to come to an end. While you still have the chance to speak, say as much as you can. Brat, you said that you wouldn't kill us. The two of them were taken aback by Zhong Xian's words, and their faces warped in horror. I did say that I wouldn't kill you, but I believe that someone will. That's why I want you to talk more, Chen said. Mitch, as long as you keep your word and don't kill us, you don't have to worry about our lives. The tall one coldly snorted. Indeed. You should worry about yourself. You're going to die in the hands of young Master Wang Shan soon. May I know if you have any last words that we can fulfill for you? Yang Ping teased. Since Chen had promised that he wouldn't kill the two of them, they started to talk more. They even praised Wang Shan to the point that he was invincible. At the same time, they also talked about how powerful Wang Shan's strongest attack was. Brat, I know that you're proud of your strong physique. But let me tell you, young Master Wang Shan has a sword called Raging Flames. It was personally forged by the great commander. Although it's not as powerful as a magical treasure, it's still extremely sharp. You have to be careful, don't get killed by it. The two of them laughed and kept on praising Wang Shan. At the same time, they also talked about some of Wang Shan's trump cards. Chen's interest was piqued. He asked, since that Wang Shan is so talented, lustful, and powerful, he must have brought a lot of primordial stones with him. Oh right, do you have something like what Wang Xiana had back then, something that would appear with a flash of red light when she extended her hand? Page, you really came from the mountains. You don't even know what a spatial magical treasure is. How ignorant. The two of them looked down on Chen again. That's called a spatial magical treasure. It can only be made by Zephyr realm experts. It requires a lot of precious materials. The cheapest one costs a few thousand vitality stones. It's vitality stones, not those vitality stones fragments. The two of them emphasized. Oh, spatial magical treasure. Chen nodded, indicating that he understood. At the same time, he was shocked by the shocking price. Currently, he only had a few pieces of primordial stone fragments on him. Country bumpkin. The two of them curled their lips in disdain. They accidentally pulled on their wounds and cried out in pain. In their hearts, they hated Zi Chen even more. After talking for so long, you still haven't said anything. Does Wang Shan have that thing? How much wealth does he have? Zi Chen asked. This was what he was most concerned about. Do you think spatial magical treasures are cabbages? Let me tell you, young Master Wang Shan doesn't have one now. However, the commander has promised him that when he breaks through to the true energy realm, he will be given one as a gift. Yang Ping said proudly. So he still doesn't have one. So he's just a poor bumpkin. To think that you guys are still talking about him. Don't tell me he's a bat. Zi Chen said disdainfully. Bah, what does a country bumpkin like you know? Spatial magical treasures aren't something you can have just because you want to. Furthermore, you dare to say that young Master Wang Shan is poor? Let me tell you, every time young Master Wang Shan comes out, he brings at least a few dozen vitality stones with him. The tall one immediately retorted. He didn't like what Zi Chen said. Only a few dozen? That's too little. Zi Chen said. The two of them had the urge to get up and beat Zi Chen to death. They thought that a poor bumpkin like you only has 2 vitality stones fragments. Young Master Wang Shan's vitality stones can be exchanged for a few thousand of your broken item. You're already so poor, yet you still dare to say that young Master Wang Shan is poor. Country bumpkin. The two of them got angry and simply ignored Zi Chen. A moment later, a rustling sound came from the side. The two of them turned their heads in confusion and saw that Zi Chen had already put on a black robe and a mask. His face was covered, only revealing a pair of eyes. Kid, what are you doing? The two of them asked curiously. I heard the sound of horse hooves. It seems that your young master is here. I'm dressing up so that I can send you guys on your way. Zi Chen said lightly. Young master is here. That's great. The two of them were very happy. However, they suddenly realized that something was wrong. Their faces changed as they looked at Zi Chen. You want to kill us? Of course not. I want to give you to your young master. Zi Chen sneered under the mask. He then picked up 2 pieces of blue cloth and directly stuffed them into the two's mouths. With their mouths gagged, it affected their wounds and caused them to whimper in pain. All right, whether or not you can live will depend on your luck. Zi Chen picked up the 2 of them from the left and the right. He very easily walked toward the main road. The sound of horse hooves rang out and dust flew everywhere. A handsome horse was galloping over. This was a black horse. Its body was covered in scales, and it was much taller than an ordinary horse. Its 4 hooves were thick and powerful, and when it stepped on the ground, the entire earth trembled slightly. It was a majestic and mighty horse. This was the famous black scale horse of the martial heaven continent. It was very difficult to tame and had a violent temper. However, it had great endurance and was powerful. It was the favorite of many cultivators. Sitting on the back of the horse was a youth. He was about 17 or 18 years old. His face was like jade and there was a fiery red sword strapped to his waist. His black hair was scattered behind him and his eyes were bright. He looked very confident and at ease. Riding the horse, he looked like an elegant young master. However, his face was slightly pale and bloodless. It was as if he had used up a lot of energy and exhausted his body. Riding a black scale horse and holding a sword, it seems it's him. Zi Chen appeared in the distance. Seeing the youth's appearance, he confirmed that it was him. Woo-woo. The two of them also saw Wang Shan. Their eyes were shining with excitement and they constantly whimpered as if they were crying for help. It seems it's him. Seeing their expressions, Zi Chen was even more certain. As a result, the spiritual qi around him surged, and streams of energy gathered in his hands. In an instant, Zi Chen's hands became resplendent, and his qi and blood surged. Zi Chen picked up the 2 of them, and then, as if he was throwing boulders, he picked them up from the left and right. With the spiritual qi, he threw them toward the royal mountain in front. Zi Chen's strength was extraordinary, and now that he had activated his true qi, The tall and short people were like two cannonballs, whistling through the air, causing the air to emit a sound. Who dares to sneak attack me? On the back of the black scale horse, Wang Shan felt something was wrong. He raised his head and saw two black shadows that looked like two boulders whistling through the air. With a loud shout, his body suddenly rose and floated in the air. He was unusually confident. Clang! With a crisp sound, the raging flame sword was unsheathed. The blazing red light dyed the sky. It was like a burning flame, but also like a red sun. Swoosh! Wang Shan held his sword with both hands and leaped into the air. His body was extremely elegant. He activated the genuine qi in his body and suddenly slashed forward. In an instant, a stream of sword light appeared and rushed towards the two black shadows. Puff! Puff! Without any suspense, the two black shadows were split into two and fell to the ground. Wang Shan's body moved a few steps in the air, dodging the blood that filled the sky. His body slowly descended and landed on the back of the black scale horse again in an extremely elegant manner. However, when he landed, he frowned. Before this, he thought that it was Big Stone's sneak attack, but he didn't expect that there would be blood. He looked over and saw two somewhat familiar pig faces. Their mouths were gagged, and their beady eyes widened. Their eyes were filled with terror and shock. Good boy, your skills are indeed extraordinary. Just as Wang Shan was thinking about where he had seen these two people, a cold shout suddenly came from the front. A masked man in black slowly walked out from the darkness. Someone from the assassin pavilion? Wang Shan exclaimed with an unnatural expression. The masked man in black had become the signature outfit of the assassins of the assassin pavilion. Moreover, during this period of time, Yunxia City and the assassin pavilion were not on good terms. Wang Shan blurted it out reflexively. Go to hell. Zichen did not waste any time. After walking out from the darkness, he turned into a ray of silver light and rushed toward Wang Shan. He wanted to end this quickly. The assassins of the assassin pavilion did not make a move. Once they made a move, they would kill. Wang Shan did not dare to be careless. He jumped and retreated in the air, abandoning the black scale horse. Peng! Zichen's speed was very fast. He suddenly chased after Wang Shan. The two of them exchanged blows in the air, creating a loud bang. Chapter 119. The disciples of the Godly Slaughter Pavilion were all assassins. They practiced the hidden killing sword arts and had strange movement techniques. Each of them used a sword and used a killing move the moment they attacked. Although Zichen's attack was swift and fierce, Wang Shan did not feel the same kind of killing intent. He had already guessed that the other party was not from the Godly Slaughter Pavilion. Moreover, he had already discovered the other party's strength. He was actually at the early stage of the Xiantian realm, 2 levels lower than himself. This discovery almost made Wang Shan's nose crooked from anger. Thinking back to how cautious he was before, he suddenly felt humiliated. Who are you? How dare you have designs on me? Are you tired of living? His eyes were cold and his tone was awe-inspiring. The raging flame long sword in his hand was burning like a flame, emitting a chilling light. Hand over everything and I'll spare your life. Zichen lowered his voice and said coldly, So you're a robber. A guy who values money over life. Wang Shan was relieved. He finally understood that not everyone was an assassin. Sometimes, they were also robbers. Swish. Seeing that the first attack did not work, Zichen struck again. His figure flashed continuously and appeared in front of Wang Shan. His speed was absolutely terrifying. Brat, you're trying to provoke me. You're courting death. Wang Shan was furious. A dignified genius of Yunxia City was actually blocked by a little thief. With a roar, the sword in his hand flashed and a large patch of red light appeared. Like a ball of flame, it rushed towards Zichen. Boom! Zichen's body was shining with a silver light. He raised his fist and punched. His aura surged and directly dispersed the flames. His fist collided with the raging flame longsword. Clang! The sound of metal clashing resounded continuously. In an instant, the two had exchanged more than 10 moves. Sword light flashed and fist light flashed. Swish! 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 What a sharp sword. Chen retreated 7 or 8 meters. He looked at his fist and found that there were red marks on it. There were mottled bloodstains. What? How is this possible? The confident Wang Shan's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when he saw the wound on Chen's hand. His own raging flame was refined by his father. Although it wasn't as scary as a magic weapon, it was very sharp and could cut through iron like mud. But now, both sides had exchanged more than 10 blows, but it couldn't even cut through the opponent's fist. It only cut a few shallow hair-like wounds. What a powerful physique. Wang Shan was shocked. His opponent's body was even harder than metal. Shua. At this moment, Chen swung his fist again. His eyes were cold, and a strong aura surged on his fist as he smashed it down. Beams of cyan light burst from Wang Shan's body. He had already used the Qingxia secret tome. The long sword in his hand seemed to be burning with flames, one cyan and one red. In an instant, he turned his hand and a crimson sword qi appeared with incredible power. Boom! Chen's fists collided with the sword qi, resulting in a series of loud noises. His fists were so powerful that they destroyed the sword qi as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. One fist fell, then another, shining with silver light. The power was unparalleled, and it was aimed at Wang Shan's face. The long sword in Wang Shan's hand was like a flaming snake. It was unusually agile, and as the sword flashed, streaks of sword qi appeared with endless killing intent. Boom! Chen's powerful physique withstood the onslaught of sword qi time and time again. Brat, you dare to rob me? Do you know who I am? Wang Shan shouted. His aura surged again, and the cyan light around his body became more intense. At the same time, the long sword in his hand also burst out with a dazzling red light. The red light was like 1,000 streaks of sword qi, rushing towards Chen's forehead. Boom! Chen threw out a punch. His body was shining with silver light, and his eyes were cold. He was like a thunder god, using force to break the sword qi. The two fought fiercely, distancing themselves from the black-scaled horse. Wang Shan wanted to protect his mount, and so did Chen. He didn't want to kill such a good thing. Swoosh! Thousands of red lights were emitted from the raging flame sword. It was like thousands of streaks of sword qi, sharp and cold. Wang Shan's long sword trembled, and with thousands of streaks of light, it rushed towards Chen. Boom! Chen clenched his fist, and his blood and qi surged within his body. He was like an awakened dragon, and his whole body was filled with powerful energy. He punched out, and the air exploded. It was like the roar of a wild beast. Peng! Under the attack, the sword qi was dispersed, and the red light was retracted. Chen's hand only had a few new scratches. His heart was filled with energy, and the injury on his hand was already healed. What a bandit! So you have some tricks up your sleeve. No wonder you dare to rob me. The raging flame sword swept out, setting off a bright red light. It was like a surging sea of fire. Wang Shan stood in the middle of the sea of fire, his white robe fluttering in the wind. Cut the crap. It's still the same as before. Hand over everything, or die. Chen lowered his voice. He was very cold, and didn't want to reveal his real voice. Humph, do you know who I am? You want to rob me? Wang Shan snorted and said proudly, now I'll give you a chance. Follow me and I'll guarantee you a good life. You'll have endless resources for cultivation, but you have to respect me. I'll be your master. Wang Shan was very happy to see Chen. He wanted to recruit Chen, but he was too conceited. He opened his mouth and asked Chen to recognize him as his master. Are you daydreaming? The two of them were evenly matched at the moment, but Wang Shan wanted to make Chen his slave. His pride and arrogance were well deserved. Bandit, I'm afraid you don't know who I am. Let me tell you, I'm the commander of the Red Cloud City, the second son of Wang Zhenwei. I'm Wang Shan, the fourth genius of the Red Cloud City. I have the power, resources, and background. It's your honor to be my servant. Wang Shan was proud and arrogant. He looked down at Chen with contempt. He was already waiting for Chen to be shocked when he revealed who he was. Then, Chen would kneel down in gratitude and call him master. Haha. Chen laughed. He was so angry that he laughed. The fourth genius of the Red Cloud City. Haha, why don't you say you're the first genius? Wouldn't that be more powerful? So what if I'm the fourth genius? The first three are either my brother or sister. We're all family. I don't want to fight for the first place. Bandit, I'll give you one last chance. Surrender to me or wait for your destruction. Wang Shan said proudly. Shameless boasting. Chen smiled coldly and said, but your identity is indeed very special. How about this? I'll be your master. Although I have no power, no background, and no resources, after I become your master, you can give me your resources and I'll protect you. You don't know what's good for you. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Wang Shan's eyes became cold. The thunder fire sword bloomed with thousands of rays of light, like a red cloud, dyeing the sky red. The previous battle was just a warm-up. The young master didn't show any of his magical powers. I gave you a chance but you didn't take it. Don't blame me. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Since he couldn't subdue him, then he would destroy him. Since you don't want to recognize me as your master, then I'll rob you today as a lesson. Chen sneered. Shameless boasting. Look at my raging fire sword. Wang Shan was enraged. His long sword bloomed with a crimson light. Thousands of rays of light were like thousands of sharp swords, shining brightly. In an instant, all of these rays of light converged and entered the raging fire sword, as if they were being absorbed. The entire raging fire sword emitted a brilliant fire light, and an extremely terrifying aura gushed out from it. Swish. The next moment, Wang Shan raised his hand and waved his sword, and a terrifying sword chi rushed towards Chen. Humph, is that all you have? Chen felt a dangerous aura from the sword chi, but he was not afraid at all. The aura in his body was surging like a beast awakening. Abdomen's Jin chi was constantly surging. He clenched his fists, and like two thunder hammers, he suddenly smashed down. Boom! The raging fire sword was extremely powerful, and the sword chi was raging. Chen's fist was also extremely terrifying. It was like a thunder hammer falling down, blooming with thousands of thunder and lightning. The two collided, and a rumbling sound was heard. The whole world was trembling. On the official road, smoke and dust were flying everywhere, and a huge crack spread out from the ground. After the blow, Chen's figure retreated, and there was another wound on his hand. This time, the wound was bigger, but it was only a flesh wound and didn't hurt his bones. Good, very good. Chen's eyes turned cold as he praised Wang Shan twice. Although Wang Shan was ignorant and incompetent, his strength was indeed far above those of the same realm. Ordinary late Xiantian realm experts could be dealt with by Chen with just a few punches. But against Wang Shan, he was actually injured. That's good. Let me tell you, I haven't shown my real strength yet. Wang Shan's mouth flashed a touch of disdain. The red light on the raging fire sword suddenly disappeared, and then a green light emerged from his body. This green light was like water and sword, shining brightly. It was the Qingxia secret codex of Yunxia City, and it was finally revealed. As soon as the Qingxia secret codex appeared, the whole space began to distort, and a dense killing intent locked onto Chen, making him feel even more pressured. Bandit, it's time for you to die. Wang Shan's voice was very cold. As soon as the Qingxia secret codex appeared, his aura changed, becoming very strange and terrifying. Swoosh! Wang Shan's feet touched the ground, and a green light flashed. He actually gave up the long-range attack and rushed towards Chen. His clenched fist was shining with a green light. He actually chose to fight with Chen in close combat. Boom! Chen also exploded. His chi and blood rushed out of his body, and it was extremely vigorous. His silver fist was like a thunder god's hammer, blooming with endless thunder and lightning. Streaks of silver snakes swam around his body, and he looked like a thunder god descending to earth. His eyes flashed with lightning. Boom! The power of one punch was terrifying, and it instantly scattered the endless green light. At the same time, Chen also punched out again and again. Boom! 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 Bursts of explosions continued to sound. The two fought in close combat, and the wind blew around, and dust filled the air. Only the sound of explosions could be heard, and it was almost impossible to see their figures. The two fought faster and faster, and in the end, they almost turned into two rays of light, one green and one silver, constantly entangled and constantly attacked. Qingfeng Chop. Wang Shan launched a powerful battle technique, which was evolved from the Qingxia secret codex, and its power was peerless. Boom. Zi Chen's attack was relatively simple, but it was even more terrifying. His silver fist was like the hammer of the thunder god, raging and surging. Under Zi Chen's fist, the powerful attacks were smashed into pieces. Good bandit, you actually forced me to this point. Today, I will let you see the real attack of my Qingxia secret codex. Chapter 120. The Qingxia secret codex was a supreme secret codex, the foundation of Yunxia City. Not only did it contain powerful techniques, but it also contained unparalleled offensive techniques. Among them, the Qingfeng Chop was a powerful offensive technique. Unfortunately, Wang Shan's strength was too low to display its true power. Boom! Zi Chen punched out like a thunder god holding a thunder hammer. With a loud bang, the Qingfeng Chop was shattered. Zi Chen used his powerful body to resist the attack. Bandit, today I, Wang Shan, will show you what a great offensive technique is. The two had been fighting for a long time, but there was still no clear winner. Wang Shan was finally angry and felt humiliated. In Yunxia City, he had always been able to kill enemies above his level. When had he ever suffered such a loss? Being suppressed by an early Xiantian level guy? Qingfeng Chop. Wang Shan gave up on the raging flame sword and began to form seals with both hands. Green light flickered continuously as his jade fingers moved flexibly. A complex seal quickly appeared. Wang. Following the final seal, a gigantic green peak seal appeared. It was like a mountain, bringing with it a terrifying pressure. It was as if a green mountain was descending, and its aura was steady, as if it weighed tens of thousands of catties. Boom! The Qingfeng Chop pressed down, its surface flowing with endless green light. It was like a huge mountain, slamming down on Zi Chen's head with terrifying power. Ha! Zi Chen shouted, clenching his fists. The blood in his body kept surging, and a steady stream of energy poured into his heart. He was like an awakened dragon, going against the sky and attacking the huge mountain. Boom! The sky shook. The huge mountain was blown away by Zi Chen. He was like a thunder god, his whole body shining with silver light. His eyes were cold and ruthless. I don't believe I can't smash you to death. Wang Shan shouted. His fingers moved nimbly like a green spirit. As the seals fell, the huge mountain roared from the sky. Its momentum was even more stable and vigorous. Dang! Zi Chen once again waved his fist and went against the sky, blocking the huge mountain. At the same time, his fists were like thunder hammers, constantly attacking. Each strike contained a terrifying energy. He attacked as fast as lightning, throwing out a dozen punches in succession. Finally, with a boom, the great mountain was shattered. The killing technique in the Qingxia secret manual was broken by Zi Chen. Green Cloud Sword. Wang Shan was not convinced. He launched another attack. Thousands of cyan lights were emitted from his body. They were like thousands of cyan sword lights, aiming directly at Zi Chen. Boom! Zi Chen punched out again. The void trembled as the thousands of sword lights shattered. Wang Shan was affected. He retreated hastily and spat out a mouthful of blood. A mere early Xiantian realm cultivator. I don't believe you can persist. I'll exhaust you to death. All methods were useless in front of Zi Chen. Wang Shan was furious. He was determined to exhaust his opponent to death. The Green Peak Slash, Green Peak Seal, and Green Peak Sword were continuously unleashed. Boom! Zi Chen's strength was extraordinary. He was like a barbaric dragon. His qi and blood were surging, and his power was astonishing. Every punch was accompanied by a loud explosion, always able to shatter these killing techniques. Wang Shan's true qi was severely depleted. He was panting heavily. The two had been fighting for a long time. He was already feeling exhausted, but Zi Chen was still lively. Unwilling to admit defeat, he gritted his teeth and persevered. He used the last bit of his true qi to kill Zi Chen. He quickly stepped forward, his body flashing with cyan light. He was going to meet Zi Chen head-on. "I've been waiting for you." Zi Chen's eyes flashed coldly. He had been fighting for a long time just for this moment. He, who was in the early Xiantian realm, had exhausted Wang Shan, who was in the late Xiantian realm. His body was shining with silver light, and his eyes were cold and emotionless. Just as Wang Shan arrived, Zi Chen also began to make hand seals. All this time, Zi Chen had only used his fists. He had never used any techniques. Now that he was making hand seals, Wang Shan was startled. Zi Chen's hand was very steady. As the silver light flashed, it was as if there were spirits jumping between his fingers. The complicated hand seals were completed in a few breaths. Then, thunder surged out of Zi Chen's body like angry dragons, surging violently and rushing towards Wang Shan. Thunderbolt finger. Every thunderbolt contained a terrifying power. At this moment, a total of 10 thunderbolts had appeared. They were like thunder dragons roaring, carrying lightning with them as they rushed towards Wang Shan. No. At this moment, Wang Shan was already very close to Zi Chen. He didn't have time to react at all. After a cry of surprise, he didn't even have time to retreat before he was surrounded by the 10 bolts of lightning. Rumbling sounds kept coming out, and the lightning was dazzling. After a few days of cultivation, Zi Chen's understanding of the thunderbolt finger had deepened. He could now shoot out 10 thunderbolts at once. Ah, what technique is this? It's a real thunderbolt. Amidst the explosion, Wang Shan's painful scream was heard. Thunderbolt energy surged, accompanied by streaks of green light. Wang Shan was still struggling, resisting the thunderbolt energy. After a while, the thunderbolt dissipated, revealing Wang Shan's body. The latter's white robe fluttered in the wind, and he was riding on a black-scaled horse. He looked very handsome. But now, after being struck by the thunderbolt, his robe was torn apart, and there were even sparks on it. His face was black, as if he had smeared some black paint on it. His hair was even smoking. "You." Putting out the fire on his body, Wang Shan looked at Zi Chen with a face full of shock. He did not expect that the opponent still had such a trick up his sleeve. He did not exhaust the opponent to death, but instead was exhausted by the opponent. Puff. But before he could finish his sentence, he coughed out a big mouthful of blood. Although he had blocked the 10 thunderbolts and did not die, the terrifying thunderbolt energy had seriously injured him. "You what? Come and greet your master." Zi Chen stood in the distance and sneered. Wang Shan had used up all his Zhen Qi, and was like a toothless tiger. There was no need to fear him. However, after today's battle, Zi Chen also felt that his strength was not enough to deal with a mere Wang Shan. If it were not for the fact that his opponent had used up all his Zhen Qi, he would not have been able to stop him today. "Dream on." Wang Shan snorted angrily. "Then I will beat you until you surrender." Swoosh. Zi Chen smiled faintly, and with a tap of his foot, he swung his fist again and rushed towards Wang Shan. This time, Wang Shan was seriously injured, and could not dodge at all. He could only barely resist. Bang! The fist was like a big iron hammer, and it instantly hit his face. Wang Shan was knocked down, and 2 of his front teeth fell out. He coughed out a big mouthful of blood, and looked extremely embarrassed. "How dare you?" Wang Shan covered his face in anger. He never thought that this bandit would really dare to hit him like this. At this time, his Zhen Qi was almost used up, and he could no longer fight. He did not lose in terms of combat skills, but in terms of Zhen Qi. Therefore, he was very unwilling to be beaten up at this moment. Bang! Bang! Zi Chen did not say anything, and continued to punch. He wanted to beat him up until he felt better. He suppressed the anger in his heart. It was Wang Shan who sent people to spy on him in the small village, and bullied the villagers. It was extremely shameless. Moreover, his father, Wang Zhenwei, wanted to get his treasures. If it was not for Wang Zhenwei, Zi Chen would not have offended Yunxia City. Not only did he not offend them, but he also saved them because he saved Wang Xian'er. He could not deal with Wang Zhenwei, but he subdued Wang Shan. Chen naturally would not let him go so easily. Everything would have to wait until he felt better. Bang! 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 Chen threw out a series of punches, causing Wang Shan to cry out in pain. Bandit, let's talk nicely. Didn't you want to rob me? I will give it to you. Wang Shan quickly retreated and said. Swoosh! Chen was faster, and soon caught up with him, and punched him in the face. As the saying goes, don't hit people in the face. However, Chen wanted to hit Wang Shan's face, so that he could see Wang Shan's injuries and feel better. Bandit, that's enough. I already said that I will give you everything. Wang Shan was angry and said coldly. Bang! Chen punched him again, and pushed him back. A cold light flashed in his eyes. You still dare to shout at me? Do you want to die? I don't mind killing people and robbing them. Oh, no, Bandit. Oh, no, brother Bandit, let's talk nicely. Didn't you want to rob me? Go ahead and rob me. I have plenty of money, so please don't kill me. Wang Shan was shocked. He was only 17 or 18 years old, and was still a teenager. Although he had already experienced a lot of women and was already a veteran, but facing death, it was his first time. At this moment, he was completely afraid. Then be obedient, lest I kill you to silence you. Chen coldly snorted, and once again stepped forward and raised his hand to slap Wang Shan's face. Wang Shan had been resisting, but without Shen Qi, he could not match Chen's speed. Every time he was hit, he was very aggrieved. Sometimes he knew that the other side was going to greet his face, but he could not avoid it. Pa! 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 Chen repeatedly slapped Wang Shan's face, and at this moment, he vented all the anger he had received from Yunxia City's Wang Zhenwei. Humph, I said that today I will only rob you. You know what's good for you. I will accept you as a servant another day. Chen coldly snorted. At this moment, Wang Shan's face was almost swollen like a pig's head. His big eyes became small eyes, and his handsome face became a pig's head. Phew, well, hand over the things, I should go. After a few more slaps, Wang Shan was on the verge of tears. Chen finally let out a sigh of relief and said indifferently, Don't worry. Yes, yes, brother Bandit. Wang Shan was very aggrieved, and his heart was very ruthless. He cursed himself for running so fast, and cursed the black-scaled horse for being too fast. At the same time, he cursed those idiots for being too slow. Of course, he cursed Chen in his heart. But on the surface, he had to smile, nod, and put on a very cooperative appearance. What kind of F***king world is this? He obviously wants to rob me, but I still have to smile and greet him. Wang Shan was very aggrieved, and he had the urge to cry. But there was no other way. He still took out all his wealth in exchange for Brother Bandit not to silence him. Bah, what F***king Brother Bandit, brother? You are not even worth shit. Wang Shan cursed in his heart. Suddenly, the sound of hurried horse hooves came from afar. It was very urgent. Young Master Wang Shan. At the same time, there was a shout. The fight between the two was very loud, and Wang Shan's bodyguards finally caught up. Chapter 121. As a young genius of Yunxia City, Wang Shan naturally would not come out alone. However, he was arrogant by nature. Even though he had guards with him, he was unwilling to travel with them. He always did his own thing. This time, he urged the black-scaled horse to gallop wildly, leaving the guards far behind. He didn't expect to encounter Chen, and after exchanging blows, he was subdued. Furthermore, he unwillingly called the bandit Brother Bandit. He was very sullen in his heart. At this moment, when he heard the guard's voice, his heart trembled. It was as if he had eaten a ginseng fruit. His whole body felt very comfortable. He originally wanted to take out yuan stones to show respect to Brother Bandit, but now he put them in his pocket. Wang Yong, I'm here, come quickly. With a swollen face, Wang Shan shouted arrogantly. He turned around and looked at Chen. His previous humble appearance was swept away and he became proud again. Bandit, my guards are here. I'll give you a chance. Kneel down, kowtow and admit your mistake. Beat yourself up until you look for your teeth on the ground. Then, acknowledge me as your master. Wang Shan was very confident because he had 2 true energy boundary guards and the rest were nascent boundary guards. They were enough to subdue a Jin Qi boundary cultivator. Do you know how to look for your teeth on the ground? It means to knock out all your teeth and then look for them on the ground one by one. Wang Shan was very proud. He deliberately narrowed his swollen eyes, as if there was a cold light emitting from them. However, in the next moment, this deliberate action brought about bursts of pain, causing him to grimace in pain. Ha ha. Zichen laughed and said, "So it was you who invented this. It seems that you used to make people look for their teeth on the ground. Of course, there are men and women, old and young. Everyone is equal. Those who provoke me will never be treated differently." Wang Shan nodded, his small eyes full of arrogance. "Now, I will treat everyone equally and give you a chance to look for your teeth on the ground." Wang Shan looked down at Zichen, his words were very arrogant. "Young Master Wang Shan." The screams were getting closer and closer, and the sound of horse hooves was getting louder and louder. His reinforcements were coming soon. Wang Shan seemed to have seen Zichen's bruised face. Hurry up and find all the teeth on the ground." Seeing that the bandit was only smiling and not moving at all, Wang Shan glared at him in dissatisfaction. "All right." Zichen nodded. His smile grew even wider as he said, "Many thanks to young Master Wang Shan for giving me this opportunity to search for my teeth all over the ground. I will properly grasp this opportunity and cherish it. I will definitely not disappoint young Master's expectations." Zichen spoke sincerely and gratefully. "Haha. There's no need to thank me. It's fine as long as I seize the opportunity." Wang Shan laughed wildly. It was just that a few of his teeth had fallen out. Pa. In the next moment, Zichen raised his palm and slapped Wang Shan across the face. Wang Shan was hit so hard that he spun around 3 times in a daze. Pu. He spat out a mouthful of blood, along with 2 white teeth. He stared blankly at Zichen, seemingly dumbfounded. "Why you?" For a long time, Wang Shan did not say a word. "Many thanks, young Master Wang Shan," Zichen said gratefully again. Immediately after, he waved his hand again. With a flash of silver light, a palm print landed on Wang Shan. Pa. A clear imprint of 5 fingers appeared on Fatty's face. The slap was so loud and clear that it could be heard from afar. Pu. Wang Shan coughed out another mouthful of blood, along with his white teeth. He was in a sorry state. "How dare you hit me? You're courting death." Wang Shan covered his face. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He shouted angrily, but his words were unclear. "You asked me to seize the opportunity. If I don't hit you, who should I hit?" Zichen waved his hand again. "I asked you to F*king hit yourself." Wang Shan was furious. He felt wronged and his whole body was trembling with anger. "Oh, thank you for your guidance, young Master Wang Shan," Zichen joked. His palm landed on Wang Shan's face again, making a crisp sound. You F*king did it on purpose." Wang Shan finally realized that Lin Fan was toying with him. He covered his swollen face with blood and cursed angrily. "Haha, young Master Wang Shan is so smart." Zichen laughed mockingly. He waved his hand again and slapped Wang Shan's face. "Wang Yong, come quickly." Wang Shan let out a shrill scream. Obviously, he was afraid that Lin Fan would beat him to death. He could tell that Lin Fan did not care about his identity at all. It was very likely that Lin Fan already knew his identity and was deliberately waiting for him here. The sound of horse hooves got closer and the ground began to shake. It was obvious that they were only a few 100 meters away. Vaguely, Zichen could see many figures approaching at high speed. "Haha, that's enough. My dear young Master Wang Shan, we should be on our way." Zichen sneered and grabbed Wang Shan. His figure flashed as he rushed toward the dense forest on the side of the official road. His speed was very fast. After a few breaths, he had already disappeared into the dense forest. "Wang Yong, save me." In the forest, Wang Shan's shrill voice kept coming out. The sound of horse hooves was very urgent. After a few breaths, a few figures appeared. The leader was a burly man with true inner force surging around his body. Obviously, He was a true energy realm cultivator. He jumped off the horse and stopped at the place where the battle took place. He saw the marks on the ground. The ground was cracked, blood was spilling, and a few big white teeth could be seen clearly. Not good, something happened to the young master. Wang Yong's face changed when he did not see anyone here. He knew that something was wrong. Wang Yong, save me. At this moment, Wang Shan's cry for help came from the forest. Chase. Wang Yong gritted his teeth, abandoned the horse, and rushed into the forest. Before you chase after them, pick up your young master's big white teeth first. Doesn't he like to look for teeth all over the ground? Don't forget, he doesn't even have any teeth now. A teasing voice followed closely behind. Hearing this, Wang Yong's whole body trembled. Obviously, he was scared out of his wits. Young Master Wang Shan's teeth had been knocked out. If this was spread back, they would be punished. The crime of failing to protect the young master was punishable by death. Wang Yong's face was extremely gloomy. He glanced at the Xiantian expert beside him and said, "Go pick up the young master's teeth. The rest of you, follow me." Damn it, how dare he have any ideas about the young master? I will make sure that he has nowhere to go. After a few flashes, Wang Yong and the rest chased with all their might. Zi Chen was running through the forest with a person in his hand, but it was as if he was running on flat ground. Behind him was a group of experts. Among them, there were 2 true energy realm experts, and the rest were Xiantian realm experts. Not bad, as expected of a disciple of a big family. You actually have 2 true energy realm bodyguards. Zi Chen mocked, his body turning into a bolt of lightning, flying at extreme speed. Zi Chen had already comprehended the first of the 9 flashes of lightning. At this moment, he had already started to comprehend the second one. His speed was much faster than the true energy realm experts. Although the people behind him were chasing happily, they were unable to catch up to Zi Chen. "Brat, you will regret this," Wang Shan said angrily. He originally wanted to curse Lin Fan, but he realized that he had lost his teeth. This kind of humiliation almost made him faint. Zi Chen had not deliberately suppressed his voice when he spoke just now. Wang Shan could still tell that he was young. "Haha, I think the one who will regret this is you." Zi Chen laughed carelessly. Then, he grabbed Wang Shan with one hand and reached into Wang Shan's chest with the other. "What are you doing?" Wang Shan screamed as if he had been stung by a scorpion. His voice was sharp and ear-piercing. He was known for being untainted by flowers and plants. He loved women, but he had never had any relations with men. "What are you thinking? I don't even like trash like you." Zi Chen flicked Wang Shan's head and took out a small bag from Wang Shan's chest. The bag was full of vitality stones. Zi Chen took the time to open it. There were dozens of them, and they were all real vitality stones. They were not trash like those broken vitality stones. "You're really poor. How dare a pauper like you say that you have a powerful background? How dare you say that you are the 4th genius of Yunxia City?" Zi Chen was very dissatisfied and gave Wang Shan a few more flicks. Wang Shan was about to cry. He did not know whether it was because of the beating or because of anger. But in his heart, he kept cursing Zi Chen for being a country bumpkin. In Yunxia City, which late-stage Xiantian expert could casually take out dozens of low-grade vitality stones? Except for Wang Shan, there was no one else. Even Wang Xian'er and Wang Qiong could not take out so many low-grade vitality stones when they were in the same realm. Every time he came out, he would bring dozens of vitality stones. Wang Shan was already considered rich and overbearing. But Zi Chen's tone was even more arrogant. He was a pauper, but his tone was so arrogant. Wang Shan's eyes almost popped out when he saw those vitality stones. His saliva drooled and fell on the stones. He wiped it off, but he still looked disdainful and said that he was poor. At this moment, Wang Shan even had the thought of killing himself. But soon, he realized that something was wrong. He felt a tremor at his waist, as if a big hand was touching there. "Ah!" He screamed at the moment. It was as if an electric current was flowing through his body. It was extremely uncomfortable. His voice was harsh, just like the voice the girl made when he threatened her. "What are you screaming for?" Chen said with dissatisfaction. His hand had already reached Wang Shan's waist, and then he took off the raging flame sword. This is the raging flame sword. It's just SOSO. I reluctantly accept it. Chen took the raging flame sword and put it on his waist. He was very majestic. The raging flame sword could cut iron like mud. It was personally refined by Wang Zhenwei, who was one of the top 3 experts in Yunxia City. Although it was not as terrible as a magic weapon, it was by no means comparable to ordinary weapons. At this moment, Chen said that it was just SOSO. Puff. Wang Shan could not stand the insult of a country bumpkin. He spat out a mouthful of black blood and fainted with dignity.